check. Huzzah, it works. All right, we got audio. Pray for Cathay. Yo, what's up? Hello. A Zone, we got Zone in chat. Yo, I taught Zone everything I knew back in the day. Hello. Hello. Yeah, I'm a little late. What's up? Yo, I'm excited. Excited for some Cathay action. Let's see here. Tournament. We got lots of sign-ups. Everything looking goodies. Ah, hella sign-ups. Jeez. Alright. Generating the bracket. At Goblins. Round 1. Alright. And so we begin. So I've been working on the grandest of Cathay builds. Yo, we are up. I've been working on these builds, and I think I have some cool varieties. So we have the usual Dragon-Blooded Shugongen Lord, Jade Shield's Dragon Breath, very fun, right? This is the classic. Or you can go Lore of Yin and slow. With either you're bringing Plague of Rust and Dragon's Breath, or you're gonna go for the Lore of Yin and go for the slow plus Searing Doom. Both combos are amazing. Astromancer's great because you can also take him on his mount. That way you're not wasting money. And instead you essentially just get a free Great Moonbird. So that's pretty nice. But we have some other shenanigans we can try out. Like the Zhao Ming version where he has Plague of Rust. Or you could put Plague of Rust on this lady and put her on a horse. That way you could fly around as a big old dragon. And we also have the Miao Ying version, which has Miao Ying spamming out some Flesh to Stone that will give 96% physical resist. All right. Here we go. Yo, what's that crown thing? You have a little crown thing? What does that even mean? I click the crown thing. But it's weird. Yeah, this is Spell Amp build. So each caster gives 15% more Spell Amp. Each Jade Lion gives 15% more Spell Amp. Die trying time? Wow. How dare you? What's Spell Amp? It increases the damage and overall effectiveness of your spells. Not duration, but for example, with this, we'd have 60% spell amplification, which means that my Flesh of Stone is increased by from 60% to 96%. Physical resist for 19 seconds. Overcast is going to last 38 seconds. That's an absurd amount of physical resist. It's actually kind of crazy, so I would love to try out something along those lines. You get experience from messages / time spent, huh? Well, I guess Darstrix is number 1. I guess Peaceful Romance is number 2. Whatever that means. Also, Carnage. Thank you very much for messaging on Twitch. Don't worry, I saw you. I saw your little wave. The one and only chatter on the Twitch side. Rip Twitch. Oh yeah, we're gonna totally win today. 100%. 100%. Oh, we will annihilate here. It's impossible not to. Let's see. So I gotta figure out though. I must figure out what in the world I'm planning to do. Oh yeah, here we go. This is a level of shenanigans that no one will be prepared for. What's the map? The map is Putrefying Carcass. Hell yeah. We're trying out all the new maps that were released recently. Should be very hype. Yeah, you guys are gonna love this build. Oh, you guys are gonna love this build so much. It's a fancy one indeed. Very, very fancy. Will it suck? Will it cook? I don't know. Easy win will happen. Faux show. Hey, correct. What's up? It's pronounced Co9. All right. Hell yeah. I might forget that though. If I do, I'm very sorry. Are the exercise redeems active today? They should be. They should be. I can double check for you guys. Oh yeah, I hope you guys are ready for the bloodbath. Yo, I brought Meow Ying. We got Meow Ying. She's gonna crush it. Yes, squats are active. Wow. There it is. Yep, good old exercising. All right. Let's see here. Ba ba ba. Just gotta do some messaging real quick. Can't wait to show off this build though. You know, people used to do a lot of spell amping with Zhao, but that kind of fell off. This though is the new age. So right now it doesn't show the intensity. But as soon as the battle begins, you shall all bear witness. Ready, good luck, have fun. To the power of Meow Ying. That's such a such a number 3 thing to say. Dude. Yo, I don't know how I feel about this whole numbering system. The only person that's allowed a superiority complex is me. Starts bleeding into my chat. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Oh god, already redeemed the 15 squats. All right, here we go. Quickly, before the battle starts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2. What is this meta? Oh yeah, it's the spell amping. I want to make Cathay's spell amping work. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, here we go. Let's do it. Pre-game teabagging. All right, we're good. Yeah, workout arc. It's always been going on. Ripped City for the win. Oh yeah, yo, I got double Astromancer. Meow Ying with the mega slows, Storm Shadows. You want to see the shems? That is one of the things.
160% gems burning gaze spam with Executioner.
Don't worry, you will be seeing it. All right. Look at that, Flesh of Stone. 96% physical resist. For 38 seconds. Insane. And we got our bombardment artillery pieces. Yeah, let's see here. Yeah, it just has a bunch of archers. It's not a big deal. We're gonna start off here. I'm gonna start off by doing this. So now they're slowed by 72% for the next forever. It's pretty funny, ain't it? Yeah, what are you gonna do? Skirmish away from me? I don't think so, buddy. Okay, yeah, so they're just dead. a solid start to the battle, I'd say. Very, very solid indeed. And then I'm just gonna play keep away from my opponent. So yeah, that's the strat. It's a brutal one. Oh, kind of whiffed the breath attack. Whoopsie daisies. You can just cast it directly on top. Alright, so they're just gone. Amazing. And now I can start forcing my opponent forward with a little bit of artillery action. The goal is going to be, we're just going to capture these points. Should be good. Now, how do I want to do this? I do have a bomb drop with these guys, but he could potentially just turn and shoot them. But what if? What if I just made them indestructible to his archer fire? What if I just made them indestructible to archer fire? Looky there. He rampages them. Dude, they still have 24 seconds of 1,000,000 physical resist. Empress Khorne with 116% physical resist. Oh, they don't give a crap. They're not taking any damage. Yo, hell yeah. They just outlasted the thingy. All right, next up, we're going to bully some Orc Boy spears. There we go. Let's just give them the comet, you know. I think that'll be a pretty good start. And they can't dodge because they're slowed into oblivion. There we go. It's pretty solid. Empress Khorne are doing totally fine. Not a worry in the world. Yo, this is just bullying. I think we've achieved bullying. Oh man, that's hilarious. Oh, that's so hilarious. All right, so he has some squig hoppers here. Great for Jade Lancers to deal with. Harmony it up. That should work out pretty well. And then we can start to lightning bolt him with the Astromancers. Looks like he might get a dodge. We'll have to see. There we go. Looking pretty nice. Let's get the Khorne in there. They can bully him. And his mobility core here is not really doing too well, right? Yeah, looks like they will be going down. Very nice. So there go the squiggies. Let's get another bomb drop in here. He does have black orcs. So I don't really want to fight black orcs. I'd rather just bomb them into oblivion. Looks like the cavalry charge over there is working well, but I do need my cooldown. So let's go ahead and do this. And then we're going to start the bombardment. There we go. And that should be able to deal with them pretty well. Very nice. Goodbye, Black Orcs. It was very nice knowing you. I'm sure you served the cause very well, but you are no longer. Then we're going to overcast heal, because this thing will heal me, what, more than 15% of my HP? Seems pretty good to me. I don't know about you guys. Seems like a good time to me. And I don't really want my Khorne to die, so why don't we just give them invincibility for the next 18 seconds? I feel like that would be good. Seems like it would be very nice. There we go. Yeah, look at them. They are actually taking no damage. Oh my god, this is hilarious. This is exactly what I wanted to do today. The insanity of spell amplification is now. These Khorne do not give a crap about anything. They will absolutely fight to the last and forever. Not fight to the last. They won't die. There you go. There's another big old bomb drop over there. Very nice. Then we just got to shut down the archers, and then I think we're good. Both Astromancers have used up all of their spells, which is marvelous. We have our long Marauders. And you know what? This is a great time to just heal them up, you know? Look at that heal. Look at that insane 60% heal bonus. Actually crazy. This is legitimately a very good build. Next patch, spell ain't removed. Yo, look at that. They just won't die. And I got another heal coming up soon. Oh my goodness. All right. Thankfully, I've used up most of my spells now, so it's gonna help us out. Both Astromancers are chilling. Having a great time. We should be able to bully the Ruglets. I don't have a lot of stuff left though, right? I don't have a lot of spells to kill black orcs and such, so we're probably gonna need to start bringing in some crane gunners here to help out with the situation. Let's just keep healing up my cavalry forces. Why not? I want to really make use of these heals. I feel like that's absolutely where it's at. And then we're going to make some sick plays now with these long marauders. The long marauders are real cool because they have armor piercing. So if I do this against these vanilla black orcs, what do you guys think will happen? Do you think the long marauders will take damage from some black orcs? I think not, because they have 96%. They have 96% physical resist, and it's gonna last another 26 seconds. Holy crap! They're not taking damage with the black orcs. They're actually just not taking damage, so I can just leave them in combat for like who knows how long. Yeah, okay, now we can disengage with them and then send them in on the archers. That was a pretty worthwhile charge, I'd say. There we go, another great heal. Why not? Why not? Dude, this is so insane. I can't believe this is in the game. Oh my goodness. What are those squig hoppers against Jade Lancers? I'll take it. He did catch my whoopsies. My crane gunners with some orc boys though. Let's go ahead and deal with that. Long marauders are now starting to take damage, so we have to disengage with them. But at least it looks like this fight's going okay. Looks like my mobility over here is doing great. Yeah, it does work with heals, which is huge. I am out of magic though, so that means my fun is over. Fun times is over, people. We must move on with our lives. Let's see, did we kill off the orc boys? Okay, we did. Crane gunners is still alive. Cannon's still alive, so I think we're okay. Let's disengage. Man, yo, being out of magic though, worst. Worst feeling ever. So this build does run out of magic at like the 8-minute mark. I do have to consider that as running out of magic means that we can no longer have a lot of fun. Let's capture that point. But the hope is that once you have enough of a lead early on, everything should be fine. Because like, look at this now, right? I just have a cannon blocking away. I have my crane gunners still generating value. The crane gunners are really there to make up for the late game after you've kind of run out of everything else. Because once you have a lead, crane gunners are amazing, right? Shugunkin for more magic? Yeah, I'm so tempted. Darstrix wants me to try out some Shem's Lord sniping though, which I feel like would be really good on many maps actually. Just some orc boys should be able to charge them. At this point, I believe we are doing totally fine. There's a little bit of a problem that I just don't really have the crane gunners to kill off the black orcs, but other than that, I think we're goodies. Yeah, the cannon is here mostly for like monstrous units and just a little bit of an early game poking. I would say the cannon's probably not that bad. Like, you know, it drew some of his units forward. It got 600 value. Cannon is a solid tool. It does well enough. Do I want to transform with Miao Ying? I guess. It's not like she's casting spells anymore, right? Probably should have transformed with her just a little sooner. It's fine though. Yo, what is this? Yo, that's crazy. Alrighty. Oh, I do still have a Thunderbolt. Oh, hell yeah. Let's just Thunderbolt those black orcs and big guns. I feel like that'd be pretty funny. And boom, baby. That's a spell amped, right? Yeah, it is a spell amped lightning bolt. Hell yeah. Oh my god. Just everything is spell amped up the wazoo. Also water mechanics. I love how these maps actually have water. Very rare mechanic in terms of creative assembly maps. At least for multiplayer. But there we go. That's a solid victory number 1. Very solid victory number 1. As you can see, the Astromancers still kind of suck, but their spell amplification makes it worth it. Very much so. Absolutely. The Meow Ying didn't get a lot of value. She was healing though, and she did keep the Longma Riders alive. They didn't do that well though. They actually didn't pay for themselves that much. Yo, that's sad, man. Yo, if Cathay had anything with high DPS, that physical resist would be so much better. But I like the concept though. I like the concept. The Comets of Cassandora was very fun. The Comet spam. I just need to keep the Crane Gunners alive though. I think the Crane Gunner finisher is everything we need. Do the Jade Lions provide amp? They do. They do. They have Mastery of the Elemental Winds. It's sick. Alright, so that's our match done. That's Grand Cathay versus Greenskins, and the Cathay wins. Yeah, the Astromancers are just buff totems. So on the little War Compass, they give extra power recharge for me to use up all my magic. And then, yeah. It's all good. Is it China Day? It's a very Anticity build, absolutely. Oh, man. I feel like I really like the Flesh of Stone. Cathay just needs something that's better than these Longma Riders. Because even though I sent them right onto Black Orcs and they have armor piercing, they didn't do that much damage, did they? I feel like they totally should have done more, considering they were almost completely unhindered. But I guess the DPS just kind of sucks. I'm telling you though, the moment Cathay gets a high DPS unit, Meow Ying with Flesh of Stone is where it's at. Someone asked what lores of magic they have access to. So they have Lore of Heavens. They have a little bit of Lore of Life because of Meow Ying. They have Metal, and then they have Yin and Yang. Metal's really good with Searing Doom and Plague of Rust. Glittering Robe is a meme, even though it is plus 100 armor. Armor is not that useful in this game because everyone has armor piercing. Final Transmutation is jokes. Transmutation of lead it could be hilarious, right? We can make them have base weapon damage minus almost 100%, but it doesn't actually decrease your armor piercing damage, unfortunately. So it will not work that well. Maybe it was the melee defense boost from the shielded Black Orcs, maybe. Maybe. I just have to finish typing something up and then we're good. All right, there we go. Spell amp affect the spell school passives? I don't think it does. Imagine Nurgle with 160% spell amp. Okay, like there's some magic that benefits from it way more than others. So you can it's spell amp stat boosts. That's the most interesting area for it. So like technically you can give units 60% to 24 times 1.6. Yeah, you can give them almost 40 plus 40 plus 40 melee stats. For 7 35-second duration. It doesn't work for durations, but it works for slows. Obviously, it buffs the damage, which is pretty cool. But it's definitely the best with resistances, because higher resistances tend to, you know, scale exponentially. So like a missile resist of 20% is whatever, right? If you get that to a missile resist of 30%, you could, with a little bit of like physical resist, suddenly the unit's invincible. And that's kind of what we're aiming for today. Deliverance of Itza. So I did look into it. Let's see, where is it at? Yeah, the Lore of Yang, Constellation of the Dragon. Usually you would overcast this to kill off a unit of artillery crew. You can kill the Sunmaker crew at normal cast if you have 60% spell amp. So straight up, Cathay has the ability to delete artillery crews off the map for 15 winds of magic. Here's the thing though, Dragon's Breath Overcast is just going to be better. But Constellation of the Dragon does have 200 meter cast range, so depending on the situation, you might want to overcast it. I'm going to be trying out Jade Shield in a little bit. But, yeah, what we really want to see next, though, as was requested, is Yuan Bow with the 6 Shems action, right? Is there no time for them to dodge? I think if they dismount the artillery immediately, I think they barely have time to dodge with some of the crew. But it would be quite the race. It would be quite the race. But I think if played perfectly, you could probably survive it. What's the best changeling form for campaign? For campaign? Oh, I don't know, man. Probably some world beater like Scarbrand. His best in multiplayer is the Sisters of Twilight, probably. Yeah, Overcast Dragon's Breath is huge. And you can take the Shugangen Lord for an extra 2.5 winds of magic per cast. But yeah, Yuan Bow definitely has some cool stuff you can do. So you have the Shems spam, which is great. It's 5 winds of magic, 1 million damage. You can overcast it to double the damage, but it actually is not that efficient. And you also have miscast chance. So most of the time, I think you just want a normal cast Shems. Net of Amatoch does not get spell amped. Excuse me. Comet of Cassandora does. Talons of the Night does. Blossom Wind does, but the blinded effect doesn't get amped. Even though it will say that it does, it doesn't. Jade Shield is weird. So Jade Shield is kind of like Flesh to Stone, but worse. So it's 44%. You can spell amp it to like, what, 70-ish? It's nice, but yeah. Hey, Emoji, thank you very much. Yo, 10 months. That's crazy, man. 7-month streak. Dang, so you started when I came back. Thank you so much, man. Much appreciated. Yo, Stone Ground stance. The mass increase will be higher. Is that good? No, but you can get ludicrous mass. You cast this on a Shredder of Lustria, I guess. I did test it on Wall of Wind and Fire. Also not very worth. All right, advancing the Swiss. Oh my gosh, Harmon Cruel, thank you so much for the 10 euros or
Keep
11
up the
euros.
Great work, Anticity. Love to watch you perform in tourneys.
Holy crap, man! Oh, I thought the message was gonna keep going. The chat bot doesn't really know how to end sentences. But thank you so much. That is a lot, good sir. Euros, that's like a million Canadian. Also up against Danican. Yo, what's up, Danican? Whoopsie daisy, someone needed to drop from the tournament. Okay, so that means Lemur's Bane. Lemur's Bane. Your opponent dropped, so you get the win. Lemur's Bane. Yeah, okay, Lemur's Bane's got 2 Swiss points now. All right, well, good. A Noble and Aldor, thank you for the 100 bits too. Antagonists. 160% mass chariots. For the jokes. Okay, we're on Rapturous Expanse. He's playing as Dark Elves, so this is actually perfect for the Yuan Bow action. If I can one-shot chariots with Shems, that would be sick, but I don't know if that's going to be possible. Yeah, we're gonna Yuan Bow this next match. We tried Miao Ying, and then I gotta do Zhao at some point. Although I think Shugengen Lord's probably the best. So Speed Amp does work. There are spells that boost speed. Unfortunately, none of them are on Cathay's roster. Oh yeah, watch out for Doombolt. Yep. Yuan Bow has a lot of HP. But yeah, Speed Amps or spells that give speed can be amplified. It's just a wee bit awkward to actually find it on this roster. Yo, I swear, Cathay spell amplification is being held back so hard by their spell list. This spell list is gonna be so much better. All right, so it's Dark Elves. I think we do want to go for this. Oh, that's so expensive, though. Yuan Bow has 50% resistance to Doombolt. Holy crap, he has spell resist. Who would have guessed? 60% if you take his item. Self-damage resist. Okay, well, it's 15 missile resist, 25% spell resist, and then 10% damage resist on his item. But I don't think it goes higher than that. Heaven Caster with the melee attack debuff. There is an armor, AoE armor reduction too. That's pretty hype. I think healing lures are the best. The fact that you can only take healing on Miao Ying is really rough. If you could take a normal caster with healing, that would be great. There's a lot of like really strong damage abilities like Melkoths or Flock of Doom that kind of go wasted. You know, like the ultra meta spells. Because with Spell Amped Searing Doom, you get a lot of overkill. But with Melkoths, you get the full value. So it reaps the full benefit of the spell amplification. And it goes from a very good spell to kind of a ludicrous spell. You're just deleting cavalry with one click. It like becomes Buna for 6 wins of magic. It's crazy. Is Cat to get another DLC? I sure hope they do. CA's been skimping on the DLCs. Fingers crossed. So how do I want to do this? Like Dark Elves are gonna be an issue. Rapturous Expanse at least is a fairly wide open map. That's gonna help us out. Let's get one of these. I have a strategy. Will it work? I don't know. But I definitely have something cooking up. Sure, this seems pretty good. Another great thing is we know how Daniken likes to play. So I can try to adjust to their playstyle as best as I can anyways. Do I need Righteous Lances here? I feel like they're not gonna cook very hard, are they? But yeah, Daniken likes to kite, don't they? Daniken's a big kite enjoyer. Much like myself. And as someone who knows how to defeat myself, I feel like we should be in an okay position against Daniken. Jade Lines give spell amp? They do. That's how you can get to 60%. Unfortunately, you can't go any higher, but it's a good start. I wish I could take a Sky Lantern, but this build maxes out on single entities. Sky Lantern would be jokes, though. It would be hilarious. No one can tell me otherwise. If it's Dark Elves, what? He's gonna spam the Doom Bolters, isn't he? He's just gonna Doom Bolt me into oblivion. I should be able to deal with a couple Doom Bolts. Just don't take Celestial Dragon Guard, you know? Just don't go super duper elite. And you should be fine. Here we go. Doom Bolt alert. Yep. We'll be keeping an eye out for it. Would you support Jade Lion Breath? Benefits of amplification? Sure. I think it's thematic. And like, I think it'd be cool to see the lions actually hit the meta at some point. So like, bound abilities getting spell amp, but then I don't know. Maybe it would get too janky because some bound abilities are not spells. So like, is that breath attack really a spell, or is it just its breath? Hard to tell. Esterific Ace, what's up? Full meme build with lanterns. It'd be pretty funny. But today we are amping it up. Taking it up to 11. So take a look-see. I have Yuan Bo. He has Shems and Jade Shield. So if he decides to spam a million Doom Bolts on something, I can cast Jade Shield to save them. I think that's going to be a huge... That's going to be a huge play. If he staggers his Doom Bolts, he's better than me. But yeah, that should be a pretty good start. Let's position over here with these guys. That should do. And we'll use our Khorne to scout. As long as I keep these Crane Gunners alive, life should be pretty hard. He would need a pretty fat rush to actually get on these Crane Gunners. And I can play defensively with Jade Shield. The biggest downside in this build is that I have 600 gold doing nothing. Double Alchemist with no abilities is a little awkward, but yeah. Yeah, this is basically the build I took against Khorne. At least the idea is essentially the same. So we're seeing some Dark Riders. All right. An Assassin.
But my diligence,
nice.
Capability and force of arm.
Assassin should be... I should be able to deal with him.
The chosen of Cathay.
Unfortunately for me, Yuan Bo talks a lot.
Against these foes.
Like a lot, but it's fine. He's done. There you go. Guns have plonked away at him. Assassin, we're gonna bully with our lion over here. And then Yuan Bo. Ah, Malice! The meme blade himself has arrived. Okay. Okay, so I don't want to push up too much, right? I don't want to get into a bad situation. Assassin does survive the hit. Wow. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. Okay. So he's line of sighting me. Makes sense. Smart plays are smart. All right, so I need to defend my Crane Gunners. Absolutely. We gotta get spears. We gotta get a cavalry in here because he is marching up towards me with no intention of actually stopping. He has a caster. Okay, now this is gonna be the true test of Shems. Does it cook? Is she gonna line of sight me? For 5 wins of magic, it's not the worst, but also not exactly the best. Not exactly the best thing I've ever seen. Crane Gunners are cooking at least. And I will be able to summon in some Crowmen in here to save me. A couple Dark Riders is not an issue. And 1 K-Knight Assassin is also pretty chill. As far as Yuan Bo is concerned, 1 K-Knight Assassin is basically nothing to him. Crane Gunners are able to fire away. That's good. Okay. There we go. Looks like we're gonna need to save these guys. And let's get those breath attacks going. There we go. Very nice. We just want to start bullying his light infantry. There's a lot of light infantry here. Yeah, where'd these crowmen go? Oh, they're part of that fight. I see. Okay, let's pull back. Yuanbo versus Malice. Okay. Very interesting. Very interesting. As long as the Crane Gunners survive, though, it's going to be a tough time for my dual role opponent here. And he's about to lose a bunch of units on that flank. Get him, peasant horseman. Save him. How's Yuanbo doing? He's doing okay. There we go. Fairly good fighting. Should be able to just bomb drop these guys into oblivion. And then maybe we can go for his caster. Big ol' AoE does drop. I can save the crowmen though. And then there we go. Let's do some of this. That AoE was pretty painful. I'll give him that. Trading wise, we are trading up though. Unfortunately, Shems has not really done me too much this fight. But in general, I think it's okay-ish. It really depends on the Crane Gunners. I think this entire battle entirely depends on how well the Crane Gunners do here. I should be able to kill off the Cold One Knights at least. Unfortunately for Yuanbo, he really doesn't have a lot of good targets. Okay, that's a pretty good buff. Ah, crap, but there's a passive. So the Dark Elf passive is a massive AoE buff. Or it's a massive buff to all of their units, right? So we're gonna need to, yeah, we're gonna need to take them out. As, yeah, it just makes all of their units perform way better in combat. It's a doozy. And as you can see, we do lose a lot of value. The defensive playstyle is definitely good for me. Those are just Dark Riders. I do want to disengage from them just to avoid that that big old fat combat buff that they're getting. At least over here, it looks like his Black Arc Corsairs will go down. And soon enough, the passive will wear off and we can continue the fight as normal. Unfortunately for Yuanbo, though, he's kind of in a sticky pickle. And we are now starting to down trade, which I don't very much appreciate. I should be able to take this out at least. And the Crane Gunners do live, at least. So that's going to be very nice. Yuanbo over here, he's a decent fighter. He should be able to survive. Though, yeah, he's gonna need to overcast Jade Shield in a second. At least the Crane Gunners are still cooking. It is simply a matter of time now. We are playing hard for time. I gotta recapture these points. Yuanbo at least is pretty chonky. There's the Jade Shield, so he ain't dying anytime soon. And my Crane Gunners are online and operational, which is very huge. The Corsairs are routed. Very, very nice. Jade Shield's doing great work. And we're going to now start spamming out Jade Lancers. Interesting to see that he did not favor the Doom Bolton very much. Yuanbo looks like he will be able to live. Very nice. Okay, Crane Gunners, this one's on you. Crane Gunners gotta pull the value train back. We will be able to execute the assassin. Nice. And then I transform Yuanbo. And now is the time for retaking some territory. He's gonna want to hunker down on the points, right? Absolutely so. He's just gonna chill, hunker down, and play, yeah, play the stall game. But I'm going to be spamming out whatever spears I can. We're hopefully going to be able to retake some points. Maybe get a little bit of a surround here. Value trading wise, it's pretty even. I'm just really down on points is all. But with the Crane Gunners alive and getting into position, life should be okay. Get some Melkoths down. Okay. It's going to be rather painful. Let's just pull back. There you go. Second point taken. And then we're just going to give them the runaway. We're just gonna give him a little bit of a run around. There we go. And the spears will be there. The crane gunners are in. He's doing a good job. He's playing keep away from the crane gunners. But can he stop this? I don't really want to fight Malice, by the way. That would be bad. Should be able to at least kill off some Cold One Knights here. Unfortunately, I have no crowmen in this position, though. That would have actually been smart. But no harm, and he's a bit bad. He transforms Malice, too, which is going to hurt me a lot. And we're probably going to lose all of our cavalry here, right? Let's be real. Honestly, the Yuan Bow sniping didn't really work against his build. He did really good when it came to... yeah, when it came to building against me. I feel like I would have done so much better with like a final transmutation. Crane Gunners are going to do their best now, but I think Danican wins this. Danican with the sick Dark Elf build. Honestly, I feel like Yuan Bow in general is just kind of underwhelming. I've tried Yuan Bow a few times, but I feel like I don't really feel him anymore. Yuan Bow kind of sucking. Hey, we will be able to capture the point though. And I will be able to get some Empress Crowmen going on here. Those are just Dark Riders. That's kind of whatever. Okay, Yuan Bow. He's doing his best. She can stall the point. Those are just Dark Riders, whatever. We will have to actually probably deal with them, though. Oh, not the lag. All right, there we go. So Yuan Bow versus Malice. It's going a little sus. It's mostly Dark Riders here, but the 1 or 2 Cold One Knight units will be my end if I'm not careful. Come on, Yuan Bow, live. If I can hold long enough, mayhaps we win. It was honestly a very close match. Crowmen are doing fine. Yuan Bow in no way can kill Malice, though. He's just gonna die. God, what a shame. What a shame. Well played from Danican. But yeah, the transmutations would have been sick. I think Yuan Bow for 2,200 just can't fight. Jade Shield is fun at 64% amp. But yeah, at this point it's over. Fun game though. Let's get a little bit of a bombing run over here. Kill off his infantry, but there goes Yuan. GG, well played. All right, I'm swearing off Yuan Bow. I'm swearing off Yuan Bow donations too. All right, don't donate Yuan Bow anymore. Every time I take him, I lose. Let's see here. He did okay though. It was 1,700 value. But yeah, if he had brought a different build though, like with skirmish chariots or something, this would have gone way better. But he kind of knew that chariots wouldn't do well into Cathay anyways, right? Yeah, no good Shems targets. But he was line of sighting them too. Shems is really goofed up by line of sight issues. Because you can't cast it while in the air, right? And he's not on a horse, so it's very often just going to hit terrain. Garbage. Yeah, he got 2,400 that battle. He was a 1,000 gold loss and my spellcaster. All right, yeah, no Yuan Bow. No Yuan Bow. What I really want to start trying though is this one. This one is where it's at because you have Plague of Rust. You have some insanity Dragon's Breaths. And you also have Jade Amulet. So the reason this build is amazing is because Jade Amulet is it's a 2.5 Winds of Magic refund on every spell you cast. So Jade Shield cost me 1.5 Winds of Magic. Dragon's Breath cost me 3.5. Even Overcast Dragon's Breath will only cost me 6.5 Winds of Magic. So it is worth it to overcast a Dragon's Breath for the double damage. This is the Mega Wombo. This one is where it's at. And then, yeah, hopefully Hopefully that all goes well. Yuan seems awful. He killed one assassin, I guess. He did kill one assassin. Is Corruptor even in chat today? Dang, Corruptor not in chat. Rip. It's fine. At least as long as I win my next 2 games, we're very likely to make it to semis. Such is the way with these tournaments. As long as Danican keeps winning. If Danican throws one of his matches, we get screwed. But overall, I should have pretty good opponent points. Yeah, you can't use multiple spells together because you don't get the full... this lasts 25 seconds. So you can only cast one spell every 25 seconds. But overall, it's pretty good. And this'll only run you 1,900 gold for 2 horse characters, which is very good for capture weight. If he did bring, like, you know, in a different meta, if he brought like a Dragon Lord, like Malekith, he would have been so boned. What are the gameplay differences between the Dragon Lords? It's mostly their spells. Their spells are the big thing. Though I think all the Dragon Lords are a little overpriced. They don't really bring that much to the table as combat characters. If you do transform them, they're a little clunky. But they are by no means terrible. I just think this item, if the Blood Dragon Shugenkin Lord didn't have the Jade Amulet, then I would consider the Dragon Lords more. But this is just so good. Is Yuan Bo terrible in melee versus characters / monsters? His animations look so bad. He's a fine fighter. He won't beat any dedicated fighters though. Like Malice Darkblade has a healing, so it's gonna be difficult almost no matter what. Yeah. So against that Dark Elf build, I was almost trading up. I think the Crane Gunners were good. The map was kind of lumpy though. I don't really like Rapturous Expanse as a gun map. I think it's winnable, but definitely Dark Elves had the edge there. Danican played it really well too, getting all the capture points super early. Are you only playing Cathay today? Yep. I might stick with Cathay for a while until I try to get a build that actually works for them. I think we're almost there, but these Yuan Bows are so bad. I think Yuan Bo I just have to write off. If you take him as just a net character, it's not the worst. I probably could have made some plays with the Righteous Lances too. He didn't really have a lot of tools to beat the Righteous Lances. I did also blob up for his Assassin AoE. That was pretty bad. But a Melkoth's caster was always going to make life rough. I would have needed to go for like a full Mantide build to win that one. Yuan is your Lord Snipe / Duelist Lord. Meow. Oh yeah, Meow has heals. Zhao has infantry clear. If we're talking like, you know, what they kind of do best. Although I think Yuan Bo is more of a sniper. Zhao is more of a fighter because Zhao does have a heal. So he can tussle pretty well. Yuan is more there just to spam it up. What was the lion value like? I forgot to check. Generally, lions can get about 800 gold value. If you include the fact that they also spell amp, it puts them in the viable range in terms of value. Sometimes it can get more if they're unperturbed too. Not everyone will have tools to kill off Double Jade Lion. I do wonder also, what if I just like sent Double Jade Lion onto Malice? Malice is a little bit of a squish ball. Let's see here. But yeah, I wonder how a Mantide would have done against that Dark Elf build. I think his frontline probably would have killed me, right? Unless I had like, you know, a frontline melter. I think honestly, going Mantide with double Jade Lion, Astromancer, Alchemist, Shugenkin Lord, you have enough infantry clear where you probably don't need a Jade Lancer core to start off with. You can probably just spam out like a bunch of peasants and archers, and I think their front line just crumbles. I might try that in my next match. So same spell amping, but we go Mantide. And if I do face Danican again, I would love to see how that works. Vanilla crossbows too, yeah. Got that little bit of armor piercing. And there's definitely a lot we can work with here. But yeah, we gotta start locking in though, right? We gotta start locking in. I really need Danican to win all his matches now. Because like there's a chance I don't make enough opponent points here to make it to semis, and I gotta do another day of this. Currently though, we're in what, 5th place. That's not too bad actually. 5th place. Did Berserk lose? He lost to Blake. Oh dang. All right, never mind, we're back in the running. Okay, never mind. There's actually yeah, there's not that many people with 2 wins, so as long as I hit my 3 wins, I think we're good. Beautiful. You live for spell amp memeing. I think definitely by far this is the best spell amp build because it makes use of all the casters. So you make use of the Astromancer because he's on a bird. You make use of the Shugenkin Lord because of her item, and you make use of the Alchemist because of Plague of Rust. And they're all on horses, they're very mobile. This guy's on a bird. So you have a lot of single entity strength. Oh, this will be amazing. Man, I still wonder though, how do you make... Can I make... Okay, you know what? At some point, I need to do a Cathay Yuan Bow style build. His spell loadout kind of sucks though, I must admit. Talons of the Night is okay, but honestly, it's very expensive. The best thing about Yuan Bow is he has a net. But am I really gonna bring 1,900 gold for a guy with a net? Is that really what I want? I don't know. Maybe. How's the spell max going? Pretty good so far. We had really good stuff with Miao Ying. Some, you know, Yuan Bo, he kind of ran into a bad build. I think he's probably viable, but I'll have to figure it out. I think Yuan Bo is not made for this build, at least. Although I will say, if he did bring chariots, he would have gone shemmed to death. But like, it's just so easy to line of sight shems. Like that's what he did at the very beginning of the game. He just he just hid behind a small hill and I couldn't shems Malice, and then because of that we died. Net plus Iron Hail core. Iron Hails are actually not the greatest in general. Why do you need a net when you have Storm of Shadows amped? Yeah, that's true, right? It's in an amp build. Why do we have a net? Yeah, I think I will eventually go back to Yuan Bo for like a different Cathay build, but yeah, let's try this for now. Yeah, it would be pretty sick though, becoming a Cathay main. Just full on Cathay main. Maybe if I get really good at Cathay, people will start banning them and I can play Empire and Kislev. Be pretty sick. Poison, Serika, WMW, and Halidin are still facing off, alright. Is there a buff spell that you would use amped up? Quite a few, actually. So, Flesh to Stone, amped up, is 96%, so it maxes out the resistances. Shield of Thorns spell amped would be hilarious. So, what, every time you get hit, they take 32 damage? Kind of funny. Stuff like leadership debuffs could be huge too. So like one funny thing you could do is Treason of Tzeentch spell amped. So instead of minus 16 leadership, it's minus like 20, what, 24 around. Minus 24 leadership for 8 wins, 35 meter radius. That's pretty jokes. Though you can't reach that level of spell amping as Zinch. Let's see here. A lot of slows are really good. But let's say like a proper buff spell, right? None of these debuffs. Spell Amp Frostblades is not that exciting. I think melee attack boosts could be impactful though. So like, I think Greenskins, where they at? Greenskins probably have some good, like Here We Go, Spell Amped, is an extra 24 melee attack at 60%. You can give them like 64 melee attack for 38 seconds. That'd be pretty massive. I feel like that could be hilarious. Or like Fists of Gork. Not Flaming Sword. Let's see here. Some speed buffs are really good, like Von Hell's. Von Hell's with an amp would be pretty hilarious. Okay, we're waiting on one more match and then we have our next round. Yeah, I was thinking Mind Razor, but like, I don't know, man. So Mind Razor's a 32-second buff. Spell Amp 60%, so you're going to be at over 75%. 75% damage is a lot. It's only 8 wins of magic. Probably worth. For some very high impact damage units. Some of these increase reload skill. Yo, what does Spell Amp to reload skill look like? Like, what if you Spell Amp Petra's Incantation? Does the reload skill just go through the roof? Like, what if you have high magic? Does Hand of Glory, can you get reload skill 90 plus 96? It's excessive. I think reload skill 60 already maxes you out, but like, come on, you gotta see the reload skill plus 96. If there wasn't a minimum shoot time, you just have cannons just like one shot every second. But we'll never see that unless they start adding more magic to Cathay. Long Marauders with stealth. Yo, that's pretty jokes. They do kind of just die in melee though, so I don't know if that's what we want. Advancing the Swiss though, as all the rounds are done. Goblins, round 3. Sorry for missing round 1 or round 2. All right, round 3. We are up against Souffle Pancake. All right, souffle pancake. All right, souffle pancake enjoyer. Yo. This could be rough because I might not get enough opponent points from them. We'll see though. The map is going to be Blazing Ramparts. Now this one would have been way better for. This one would have been way better for Yuan Bo, but it's too late now. I'm Grand Cathay. Pass is 1, 2, 3. All right, there they are. He's Khorne on the Khorne map. Oh boy. All right, so Khorne is awkward because they have really good resistance, right? They're really good resistance. All right, that changes things. That changes things a lot. Let's see here. GG Khorne. Okay, Khorne generally though is a really good matchup into Grand Cathay because Wrathmongers exist. I'm just gonna Wrathmong me to death. My magic is way less effective, but I think I have the stratagem that will work well for Khorne. All I need is... Is this good? Is this a good unit? You know what? Probably, right? Yeah, probably. I guess we take one of those. We have one of these. We have one of these. Have a couple of those. This will be good. Alright, as scary as Khorne is, it's not like we can't deal with them. It really is just the Wrathmongers, but I do have a plan against them. Let me just check. How much armor do Wrathmongers have? Do they actually have high armor? They have 70 armor? That's insane. Okay, I have an exceptional strategy. Okay, these Wrathmongers will never know what hit them. Oh boy. I actually tried Searing Doom and Plague of Rust. It doesn't really work very well against Khornate warriors, sadly. Oh boy, he's already ready. Isn't the dog going to destroy this build? The dog silence is not very wide, so you actually don't have to worry about it much. Plague of Rust, though, yeah. I think Plague of Rust is a spell that Khorne is not resistant to. Debuffs and buffs are not resisted by spell resist. So in theory, I can overcast Plague of Rust for minus 96 armor on something like Wrathmongers and then just charge them and then we're good. Terracotta Sentinel could actually cook here? Absolutely not. You think... What you're thinking is a strong single entity that's a great fighter could really cook here. What you said was a Terracotta Sentinel could really cook here, and I think that is your big misplay. Because unfortunately, Terracotta Sentinel is not exactly the best fighter in the world. It will die to cycle charging like no one's business. And it will die to Wrathmonger, sadly. But let's take a look. So here's the build. We have the Jade Shield. We have Dragon's Breath. I have Plague of Rust. It's all amazing stuff. I'm mostly going to be relying on Plague of Rust, but if he does spam Marauders, Dragon's Breath will kill them. If the Giant cooks, why not the Sentinel? Can please tell what's the price of the Giant and what's the price of the Sentinel? And also define cook for the Giant, because I don't really see Giants being brought outside of very exceptional circumstances. Ah, I see. So he does have some Marauder Horsemen here. Is he gonna pull back? It looks like he's gonna stick with it. Gets a little charge on him. Holy crap, that's a lot of single entities. Okay, so this is a wow. Okay, all right, this guy plays like me. I like it. Interesting. All right, so he's a funny man. He's a very funny man. That's actually hilarious. Dude, I should have ran Yuan Bo here. Nah, Yuan Bo sucks. We're going to start off here. Start the day off with a little bit of crane gun in action. These guys are amazing. No Wrathmongers, easy game, absolutely. So Crane Gunners do great. He does have the Hellforge Bellows, but we do outrange that. As long as I keep the Crane Gunners safe and plonking away, we're fine. Honestly, this would have been a way better map to fight the Dark Elves against, but... Excuses, excuses. When did I become a man of excuses instead of just a man of winning? I can't believe myself. How have I fallen so far? Just win. Just win. Blaming Yuan Bo for my losses. Like Yuan Bo is the reason we lost. My goodness, what am I doing? All right, there we go. Good trade from the Crane Gunners. Routing off one horseman is a solid start to the battle. We will escort them off the field now, because I do not really want to have to deal with them. Shot comes out from the Hellforge Bellows. But here's the thing, Crane Gunners are amazing. And as long as they're able to continuously shoot, I have no issue. There you go. Big cavalry route. Yeesh. Get away from that business. We do not want to fight that just yet. That sounds like a terrible idea. Okay. At some point, I will be able to get a cannon up. And then I should be able to force him forwards. Overall, I don't need to worry about trading exceptionally quickly in this battle. Okay, this is kind of a risky fight. This is unnecessarily risky. I should not be committing to this. So we're just going to back up. Bog him down with cavalry. While a single entity engagement that I win would be amazing, obviously. It's way too likely. Single entity fights are very volatile and hard to judge. So I just don't wanna risk that. Especially not when we're down a game in the tournament. Does route off my crane gunners, but overall it's looking fine. This is great for the Jade Lancers. Boom! 70%! Behold! 70% resistance! So they will hold for the next 20 seconds. I don't have to worry much about them. And then, what's he gonna do with these Furies? Looks like he just wants to dive, my boys. Makes sense. Let's get some Chrome in here to counter the Furies. That'll do great. Breath attack just to really kill him. Okay, there we go. Looks like he has some spell resist. Interesting. He's gonna be really bogged down by cavalry in a second though, so I don't think we have to worry too much. And these celestial crossbows should be able to cook him up pretty hard now. Still surprised that we don't see no Wrathmongers. He did say he was a newer player though, so it could... Maybe it's just a DLC thing? Although, Hellforge Bellows, did it come with the DLC? I don't know. I'm trying to figure out if I have to worry about Wrathmongers later. As it stands though, things are going pretty well. The Furies are getting annihilated, and now I just have to shoot the Skull Taker to death, and then we're good. One great thing about this build is we have lots of cavalry, so recapturing points should be fairly straightforward. Looks like those guys are dying pretty fast. I'm gonna save my magic. Why not? Okay, and then we're gonna try and kill this Blood Reaper first. So if I debuff him like so. Why are these guys walking forwards? God dang it, CA. Yo, the whole... I hate the inclination for range units to walk forwards when they can't get line of sight. Like, I get it, right? Sometimes you gotta go a little forwards, but like, can you not march within like 3 meters of the enemy? That would be great. It's so bad, man. It's so bad. It's fine though. We still win this game. I have a 6,000 value lead. Like, it's fine. But man, that's so sketchy. Just never right click with your range units. Moral of the story. As it stands though, there we go. Doggos getting charged. I can buff those Jade Lancers up. And there we go. They're all dead. Unless I accidentally gave a move command. Maybe I accidentally gave a move command. I'm willing, you know, the march forwards was worse than I'm used to seeing, so I'm willing to believe I accidentally gave a move command. And, you know, we'll cut CA some slack. Still, though, I feel like I look forward to that ranged adjustment. One day, one day. Hey, we nailed the Flame Storm, by the way, that time. That's something I've been getting some practice on. Here comes Skull Taker. He did get nerfed though, so he's gonna be bullied pretty bad. And at this point, my opponent's pretty army wiped, right? Sword of Khorne. If he drops a Sword of Khorne now, I can dodge it. It is dodgeable. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. All right, here we go. Fire away. There's basically no units left. I should be good ease. Oh, dang. Look at that. Sneaky Flesh Hound backdoor. I didn't even notice. This is a very high trading game though. Usually if you gotta rush a guy, you gotta capture the 3 points first and then go for a big push. But I think mostly it was my opponent's build letting him down here. The build unfortunately did not cook super duper well. just because single entities against a fairly strong single entity build from Cathay. It's pretty rough. I can debuff the Skull Taker, by the way. So he has 140 armor right now. And now he has 53. So that should help us out. The Celestials looking pretty good too. Only a decent breath attack. Whoopsie daisies. But yeah, Skull Taker's getting beat up. Here we go. GG, well played. And that is going to be our victory. So not too bad, actually. Skull Taker with the 140 armor is pretty scary. Lots of single entities. A lot of chariots. I think against some Cathay builds, this would be really hard to take out if they don't have a lot of single entity killing power. Because you basically have an army of chariots, right? And you do have the Axors to kill single entities, but against a very mobile single entity heavy build with crane gunners, this was just always going to be rough. Well played though overall. Like, you know, I don't think he made any crazy misplays or anything. Just build wise. I wonder how a giant I wonder how a terracotta would have done there though. Giants get taken into Khorne for Greenskins to kill Skull Taker. I guess versus Wrathmongers. Okay, you know what? I'm willing to accept that terracottas can trade into Wrathmongers. Can we see that real quick? You know what? Let's just take a look. All right. Credit where credit is due. That is actually a pretty cool suggestion. So you're telling me a terracotta to kill Skull Taker? Okay, so let's just take Skull Taker. Let's put him on let's put him on this guy. And then we're going to take a unit of Regiment of Renowned Wrathmongers. And then to not give the terracotta the hardest time ever, let's just take 2. Let us see. All right, so terracottas have a lot of armor, which is kind of wasted. So if they dumpster the Wrathmongers and then Skull Taker here, maybe. So there you go. There's pretty good damage, right? They're gonna go ahead and fight Skull Taker. They have a pretty good spinny attack. Maybe. What's the speed difference? 40 speed to... So the terracottas are fast enough to keep chasing the Wrathmongers. If you look at his... Can you stop facing this way? My dude, you gotta face the target. There you go. Against Wrathmongers... Against the Regiment of Renowned Wrathmongers, they still get cooked. Against Skull Taker, still getting cooked. Like, you're down trading, right? You could have infantry support, but then Khorne will also have infantry support. That's actually fairly even money. And they got 50% HP off? Okay, I think if you can manage to, you know, I guess Khorne won't have that many other units. Man. A 1-for-1, though, is not the best. I can see it, though. Like, I can see it. You're saying with infantry support? All right. So saying don't forget infantry support. So if I get a unit of like Celestial Dragon Guard, right? They get a unit of like Khorne Warriors, right? Chaos Warriors. If I get a Jade Lancer, they get a unit of Flesh Hounds. So like, let's see how this works with more infantry in the thing. It's because of no harmony. That's true. There's no harmony going on. I don't know why terracottas lost Unbreakable. I think a lot of people get the jimmies and the twist because of Unbreakable. You see it with the Chaos Dwarf trains. Yeah, you see it with the Chaos Dwarf trains where like they're like, oh, it's unbreakable, right? But like, it's not exactly the craziest thing. Whoops, failed my charge. Whoops a daisies. Okay, so let's say the terracottas now, they are able to just sit and grind against Wrathmongers. Now the AI is not controlling too well here either, but let's just see. Right, so you have infantry support. Let's go ahead and like micro a little bit. We'll see if we can like beat up Skull Taker. They can use their mobility to their advantage to single out targets, which is true. Let's see here. So I see. All right, so there go the Celestial Dragon Guard. all right. You know what, there you go. And then it looks like it did buy them a little bit more time though, right? So they are getting slightly more value than last time. Terracotta's at 800. Skull Taker can cycle charge. I don't think they trade. This is an unbuffed Skull Taker too. He could be healing. He could have a lot more stuff. And there you go. There goes one Terracotta. And yeah, they're still not really killing the Wrathmongers though, right? Like the Wrathmongers would kill all your infantry and then kill all your Terracottas. And you don't have a lot of range tools because you bought double Terracotta. So you bring one Terracotta. I don't know, man. They're not even anti-large units. They're anti-everything is how you should think of Wrathmongers. Try with Harmony on. Okay, yeah. We're going to try with Harmony. So it's not the hardest thing. It's not the hardest thing to get Harmony on Terracottas. So let's just get one Croman. And maybe this will be the big difference maker. Benefit of the doubt. Yeah, it doesn't need Harmony, but let's see. The Giant usually cooks them. So we'll compare Terracottas to Giants later. But okay, so let's say it's like, okay, we want to get the charge. This time we have Harmony, right? So we'll assume the range units are doing something else. Otherwise, I'll have to give Khorne more units. So Harmony gets them up to 66 melee attack, which is enough to punch through the rather high melee defense of the Wrathmongers. These Celestials will buy me a little bit of time, which is good. Okay, Skull Taker kind of got distracted. Let's see here. Harmony's helping. Harmony's helping with the Dragon Guard. So if they actually hold. Hey, look at that. Harmony, big diff, actually. The Harmony diff. Skull Taker kind of went on a rampage, but yeah, you know, I can kind of see it. Especially with the Dragon Guard 47 melee defense. This is AI control. Optimally, they would sick the Wrathmongers on my infantry here, but look at that. Harmony cooking. The one Terracotta is gonna go down. Skull Taker was away for a little while, by the way. Okay, there we go. And I think it's barely gonna win. Skull Taker's afraid of Harmony. Yo, if Skull Taker still wins, it's still very sad. Remember, this is unbuffed Skull Taker. On his motorbike, it could be really bad too. Oh, can this guy hit Skull Taker at all? The answer is sometimes. And he still dies. Wow. All right, so Skull Taker went on a parade to kill my Magistrate, came back, and they still lived with Wrathmongers on the field. Now, I'm not going to say it's terrible. All right. I'm not going to say it's hot garbage, the worst thing I've ever seen. We saved that for you on boat. But, yeah, it's, you know. Yeah, in an actual match, like this was normal AI with better micro, with flanking and other single entities. Yeah, I could put him on his bike, but it's gonna make the Wrathmongers even better. It does reduce his stats though, so I'll say it's terrible. Yeah, because like the bike is just gonna make them even better, right? It costs more money to put him on the bike. Wrathmongers did get nerfed. Their speed is much lower. If you do actually want to kill them, just shoot them to death. The speed reduction makes a huge difference for that. One of the reasons why Khorne just gets kited into oblivion. So yeah, honestly, I think at the highest level, Khorne is rather weak. Even like Khorne mains, don't seem to whip out Khorne all the time in the biggest of tournaments. I think Wrathmongers are actually in a good place right now, in that they do what they're supposed to do, which is kill everything. Anyway, so let's compare the Terracotta Sentinel to a Greenskin Giant and see the difference. So the Greenskin Giant has 15 more leadership and 70 more weapon strength. His speed is slower, however, and the HP is the same. Now, the gold difference is 200 gold. So for the price of 2 terracottas, you could have 2 giants and a squig herd. And I think that is impactful, but not like the biggest mind blow in the world. In the end, though, like, yeah, I don't know. I think giants, like, so here's the thing. The terracotta is not being absolutely useless here. But Cathay, in the end, is a ranged faction, first and foremost, right? Or a cavalry faction. And both of those playstyles don't really fit well with terracottas. I think if you give Greenskins the Terracotta Sentinel, Greenskins will love it, all right? Greenskins are a very fighty faction with a lot of infantry. So they would love a Terracotta, man. An armored giant with more speed, please give me. But on a faction like Grand Cathay, it's a very different story. Like giants supported by orc boys, you have the DPS to punch through a Wrathmonger. It's great. They have their cavalry, very cheap, very high armor piercing. Perfect for just getting that raw DPS in, which will stack with the giant to give enough of a leadership debuff to rout even a Wrathmonger. Cathay is kind of stuck with their Jade Lancers, right? Jade Lancers, Peasant Horsemen, not a lot of armor piercing. Their infantry don't offer DPS. So you have holding units mixed with DPS units, which is like not really what you want to do. You want to stack DPS most of the time. Also, yeah, the Giants have insane leadership too, but I don't think that makes a huge difference, since crumbling is very slow for these big single entities. But it is a funny comparison to make. It is funny to see such a thing. Honestly, they should just give them Unbreakable again, man. None of this crumbling business. But, you know, I can see why they removed it. Cathay needs great weapons. Not even great weapons. So great weapons are good. But it's only there just to punch through armor. Like a Jade Warrior great weapon with like some maces or something would be cool. Like, okay, let's say it punches through armor. That's great. They need dual weapons first and foremost, all right? They need some dual weapon monkey warriors or something. So like Kislev have great weapons, but their front line also suffers similar problems. Great swords would not be that bad actually. If it's anti-infantry great weapons, that's good. But yeah, Kislev, even though they have armored Kossar great weapons, they're not really like high DPS infantry clear. I guess they have the Watchman of the Night. Cathay doesn't even have the Watchman of the Night. They need grenades that actually do damage. Cathay would kill to get like a Vampire Coast grenade unit. Like if they replace the Nangao Grenadiers for Zombie Pirate Gunnery Mob, suddenly Cathay best faction in the game. Oh my goodness. Okay, probably not, but it would definitely help them out. So the Grenadiers have Heaven's Flash, but it doesn't really increase the DPS by that much. It's only 31 second duration. Croman Bomber unit is huge. This is amazing. If this was a unit you could take 4 of, also that would be great. Why do Cathay grenades do negative damage? I have a theory. In the times of Warhammer past, Many years ago, actually many years ago, when Vampire Coast launched, Vampire Coast released one of the first grenade units in the game as an infantry unit. And they deleted the crap out of everything that they made contact with. They would melt infantry, they would melt cavalry, and they would do it in one volley. And the people of the world said, what the crap, Vampire Coast is hella OP. And I don't know how to not walk directly into bombs. So instead of learning how to walk and flank around bomber unit that is literally a zombie and takes forever to pivot, they petitioned to get it nerfed instead. Instead of shooting it with arrows, which was a good counter, they got a hella nerf. Now, Vampire Coast was legitimately OP back in the day, but bombers did have a lot of counters. But from that day forward, people really did not like bombs in general. Same thing happened to the minor blasting charges. They got hit with the Bane Hammer, and they got nerfed up the wazoo. And then I guess Creative Assembly got the word, and they're like, all right, you know, this very short range high DPS unit, we're gonna turn them all into short range low DPS units. That way you don't have to flank. And then they're like, you know what, we're gonna do that to Cathay. We're gonna get ahead of the game. Who needs to nerf them? You know, it's not like they have plenty of other counters, like to spells, like to long range shooting, like to single entities, like their price point. Now we're just gonna make them suck, and that way balance shall be achieved. And in a way, they did make a unit that people are not upset with, but in another way, they also made a unit that is kind of lackluster. I honestly don't know how I feel about it, because legitimately it is a very annoying unit type to play around with, similar to Kite. So balancing it is going to be really hard. And the bigger problem is that not every faction has tools in the roster to deal with the grenade unit. Like some factions will have a much harder time than others. And for some factions, it starts getting legitimately impossible to deal with them. But I personally feel like that's a roster problem. Rosters should have the tools to deal, like every roster should be able to deal with air forces. Every roster should be able to deal with grenades. Every roster should be able to deal with Kite. But in a world where they don't release those units, probably they should be tuned down, I think. Probably. After I master Spell Amp, will I turn my attention to grenade maxing? Just watch Anticity of 2022. That was grenade maxing Anticity back in my Vampire Coast days. Aren't Skaven Globadiers? Don't tell CA about the Globadiers, man. They're the only thing making Skaven viable right now. If they nerf those Globadiers, Skaven cease to exist. Also, I need water. 1 second. Okay, actually though, I think Skaven Globadiers are the last good Globadier unit. Although miners are still pretty strong. I think miners are probably in a fine position, balance-wise. I think Vampire Coast grenades are a little too nerfed right now. They don't have the armor of the miners, so they kind of suffer. Cathay bombers suck, and then I think Skaven Globadiers are overtuned. If they do see a nerf, they gotta buff up everything else. Like, I would love to see Warp Grinders be as good as these Globadiers, man. Dude, Warp Grinders is such a cool unit. But yeah, right now, so you're asking why. I'll try to answer, but every Skaven build relies on Globadiers, and that's a little bit too meta-stagnant for my taste. Also, one more match and then we're good. So how to fix Skaven? Yeah, I think actually if you make the Warp Grinder, If you make the warp grinder good, I think it would actually fix Skaven. Let me know when your game is done. All right. But yeah, warp grinders. So like Skaven suffer the most because of backline dives against large single entities and cavalry. And to be able to really threaten a backline dive would be such a game changer for Skaven. Now they still have to deal with Kite. And they have, I think Skaven, yeah, they need better tools versus Kite. I think Jezzails are almost there, but it's like they need one more tool. Warp grinders and rattling gunners should actually be good though. So like rattling gunners would be okay versus Kite. You could also buff night runners. These are quite good against Kite builds. But yeah, you can make the Doom Wheel better versus cavalry, maybe, but it's a chariot. It's not really supposed to be good versus cavalry. Skaven could really use a good rush build. You know, I think Plague Monks are a huge one. The fact that Skaven can't actually rush down an enemy army is kind of rough. So big targets for buffs, I think, is Warp Grinders, which should get a minor buff. Plague Monks, Rattling Gunners, and Night Runners and Slingers. I think that would patch up a lot of the holes on the roster without just turning them into a cavalry faction. The boring way is to buff Wolf Rats until Skaven is a cavalry faction. But that's like the most boring thing ever. Alternatively, you can also buff Plague Claw Catapults. One of the reasons why Tomb Kings is so good into Wood Elves is because Screaming Skull Catapults exist as a very cheap option that does a lot of damage to loose formation units. If you make the Skaven Plague Claw Catapult minus 100 gold, suddenly you're looking at some pretty good anti-kite tech. Maybe even buff up their HP because it's a trebuchet. Although they do already have some of the highest HP ever. Oh yeah, and then Sensor Bearers, yes. Sensor Bearers also need a buff. This is a terrible unit. So you're paying, like, let's compare them to Sisters of Slaughter. Wowza. Oh yeah, that's the problem. I'm seeing it now. You see the stat difference? Yeah, so Plague Bearers Sensor Bearers don't have stats. They have comparable stats to Black Ark Corsairs. Oh, that's bad. Oh, that's real bad. Okay. I see. And they also have no armor. So, yeah, Sensor Bearers need like a plus... They need like a plus 20 stat boost somewhere, right? Wow, those are atrocious stats. Okay, yeah, they got armor piercing, but like... what elite infantry unit do they compare to? Okay, I guess if you compare them to Black Orcs. Here's the thing though, Black Orcs they still have more stats, but they also have 100 armor. You can't be missing the armor and the stats. So if you treat them like great weapon infantry, yeah, they're just unarmored great weapon infantry. How do they compare to Marauder Champion great weapons? Yeah, minus 11 combat stats. Dang, that's crazy. I never knew. Good to know. Good to know. All right, Hugo, 4th round. I gotta win this if I want to make it to if I want to have a chance of making it to the semifinals. And we're up against Bagaz. All right. It's kind of rough, actually. How many wins do they have? Did I down match? No, they actually have 2 wins. Okay. Yo, yo. I don't recognize their name. Looks like I played against them before. So I should recognize a name. I'm sorry if you're watching. I'm sorry for forgetting you. Here we go. Grand Cathay. All right. Interesting. What's the map? It is Whirling Maelstrom. Okay. These chaos maps are a little lumpy, so not the best for crane gunners, but this one at least is decent for sight lines if I remember correctly. And he's gonna be playing Khorne. Very interesting. Skaven have so many bad units. Their roster, yeah, is huge, but most of it is pretty bad. As it stands, by the way, I am currently, because we lost to Danican, my opponent points are really high. I am in 4th place right now. So if I win this, the odds of me making it to semifinals are rather high. So I should not have to worry very much. Not too much. Skaven slaves on top. Skaven slaves are legitimately one of the best Skaven units. It's crazy. And you demand Rent-A-Cat. What's up? Also, by the way, did you guys see Legend of Total... I forgot to mention earlier. Yeah, Legend of Total War did my disaster. He played one of my disaster battles. Let's see, where is he at? Legend of Total War. Dude, what a god, too. Minor spoilers. But he did manage to do pretty well in that there battle. Let's see here. Yeah, I'll post the link over here. Shout out to Legend of Total War, up and coming content creator. Really needs the support. But no, actually, it was very, very good. Legend's a beast. Let's see here. And it's really cool to see the different styles. He played it very differently from me. Played the AI like a fiddle. Yeah, yeah. The forest shenanigans. You discovered me from him? Hell yeah. Yo, I was wondering where all these extra viewers today were coming from. Yeah, yo, so sick. So sick. Will you continue Aranessa campaign? I really want to, but I'm probably gonna... I might want to turn this video... might want to turn this stream into a video first. But then afterwards, absolutely... Probably tomorrow, I'll finish off that campaign. I do really want to mix in more campaigns. Probably as like a post-stream fun thing. But yeah, no, Legends like one of the biggest content creators. Oh boy, very, very nice to get a little mini collab with them. All right, sure, let's ready out. Let's see how this goes. Already watched all the tournament highlights? Hell yeah, yo. Thank you so much, man. I'm happy you were enjoying. All right, here we go. For shenanigans, so good in general, even if yeah, the AI, well, like using the forest to block guns is really big, and then using it to take smart engagements while farming with Aranessa, because Aranessa was a beast. Aranessa actually insane. Also accidental forcing him to play as the lord that he hates. Him mentioning that it was really good that we kept her on foot. Thank you, chat. Oh yo, it turns out the campaign, the battle difficulty, I accidentally had it one notch to the left, so it wasn't the maximum difficulty. Oh my goodness. Well, that was a hilarious catch. I love that. Alrighty, here we go. So this is a big ol' map. Lots of stuff going on here. I'm trying out the exact same build. Plague of Rusts and all that business. Ready? Good luck, have fun. We got the Plague of Rust. We have the Peasant Horses. He has 10 units. And I want to get the Mega Rust. So if you overcast Plague of Rust, it's minus 60 armor. With the spell amplification that I have going. Jade Lion Breath and all the like. Yeah, I cheated. Anyways, yeah, with Jade Lion Breath and all the like, we should be able to kite out his cheap infantry. And against anything elite that's armored, we're going to give them minus 96 armor. And then give them a fat charge with my Jade Lancers. After we secure a pretty big lead with my magic, we're going to use our range units here to clean up shop. And hopefully that's enough for a victory. Looks like they did go very, very elite with a bunch of Chaos Warriors of Khorne. So first things first, we want to try upgraded Dragon's Breath and Plague of Rust. He's gone for the dogs. All right, Chaos Warhound build. I love that. These guys do magic damage, so against Khorne, it should be pretty fine. A lot of people might be worried, but these Jade Lions are pretty decent fighters. They actually do have better stats than Vargulfs. We will need to get the Harmony first and foremost. And it is time. Place your bets. How much HP does a unit of Chaos Warriors lose if you give them a little bit of spell damage? They got minus 35% spell resist. Place your bets. Place your bets. 50% HP damage. You know what? That's actually not too bad. How long does this last? Ooh, I can get a second one. 2-for-1 combo. Dude, yeah, that only cost me 15 wins of magic. All things considered, that's fairly cheap. Yo, I can fit one more in. Yeah, it's 21 seconds. I just gotta camp them for another few seconds. Okay, so there's his little bufferino, so that she doesn't take any damage. Come on, come on. I gotta get in range. I gotta get in range. Get another one in. Okay, there we go. So very elite Khorne infantry getting bullied. Unfortunately, my alchemist does take a pretty nasty hit, but it's a good start. We do have to keep her alive, and Khorne chucks down his net, which will be pretty painful. Does get a Fury summon here, but Crowmen can absolutely help with that. You there are gonna do that, and he's gonna get a little bit of a Fleshhound summon, so perfect time to disengage. We know our Crowmen can kill off his Furies very effectively, so I'm not too worried about that. And my caster does live, which is exactly what we wanted out of this here situation. Harmony bonuses will be great. A little bit of cycle charging should kill off his Khorne Gores, presumably. And can I get a route? Can get a little bit of a route here. Maybe this breath attack will do. Don't know if it was wasted. I'm really hoping it just gets enough damage here, but it's a little bit of a bad tussle. In a prolonged fight against Khorne forces, I'm not feeling too comfortable. We're gonna back it up. Instead, go for these here doggos. Hopefully uptrade over there. Unfortunately, my lions are also taking a little bit of heat. Lord is also taking a little bit deeps too. Come on, big dog pick though. Big dog pick. One lion might actually go down. That would be pretty bad. Would have to resummon it because I really need that spell amplification. Turns out Khorne does kill lions. Who would have guessed? Okay, we got one doggo routed. It's a good start. It's a good start. And I'm going to buff up my Crowmen so that they can actually kill off the Furies without too many losses. Seems like Khorne is bleeding at least a little bit. And so far, value trading is okay. I kill off a unit of Furies. We route off many of his doggos. So I'm not too worried about down trading at least a little bit. I will need to set up some bigger picks though. Because as it stands, we're not really getting too many huge picks, right? I gotta actually... Like, we probably gotta get these Celestial Crossbowmen in here. At least with his doggos routed off, that's going to be a fairly nice one. Valkia the Bloody. She gets bullied pretty hard by these guys. She does get her little defensive thingy though, which kind of sucks, but it should be wearing off about now. There we go. Does get worn off. And then I'm going to try and get a good old bombing run with these Khorne here. Unfortunately, I do lose one lion. Much sad indeed. Valkia will be able to live, and yeah, I'm just kind of forced back up. Let's play around our guns now, why don't we? I'm not liking this situation too much. Crossbows for the win, for sure. It is an infantry blob, and that will give me some good opportunities, I believe. Though definitely a little sus. All right, crossbows, this one's on you. Gotta make sure we don't throw this game. I do see some minotaurs here. He does get a kill. A little sad. And that is going to be a triple cap for the Khorne forces. Okay. All right. I see what you're doing. Karnak's pretty spooky too. Let's see if I can get a good bombing run here on his warriors. At least Valkia, I should be able to bully. Karnak, I should be able to get some work done too. That's a pretty good anti-armor on Valkia, and the bomb drop is away. So it can't possibly be too bad, especially with Karnak taking so much damage, right? Crossbows are online and operational. He's playing keep away, which is smart. But let's take a look at this situation overall. I think, yeah, Valkia's certainly taking a lot of deeps. I do lose my caster, though. That's pretty rough. Yeah, I'm gonna have to just go for this far point, aren't I? I don't think I can continue to fight here. It's a little sus. A little bit more on the sus side. So we're gonna go here instead. Hopefully I can get some Jade Lances here and recapture this far point. Should have just played for the far point. I'm honestly not playing this game the bestest. Okay, Lord will live. Fury should go down. And I just got to play keep away from Karnak. If Karnak kills my Lord, that's potentially just a fat throw. So we have to keep her alive. And she does live. Very nice. Khorne Lancer over there is fine. And I do have a decent amount of time here. Plus Karnak's taking a lot of damage. Definitely one of the more sus games. I'll give it that. Let's really make sure my Lord doesn't die with a little bit of Jade Shield action. And yeah, I'm just going to get my caster back. I desperately need her back in this situation. Absolutely desperately so. We gotta get her back. Big old fight over here too. Solid diving actually. And she still ain't back. Unfortunate indeed. Let's just normal cast this to get a little bit of fury damage, I guess. Alright. You know what? I'm gonna get crane gunners in here. I actually just need more ranged DPS to kill him off. He's playing it well, though. He's definitely playing it well. Ouch. That's a brutal spear, too. All right, Valkia, what you got? I think she wants to go for my Lord, potentially. No, she goes for the Alchemist? Yo, all right. Or not the Alchemist, my bird, dude. That's pretty good for me, I think. As we can get the bullying down on the Valkia. Got a sick breath attack over there. I should be able to kill off these Khorne warriors. And I am going to get an Alchemist here just because I desperately have to capture that point again. Valkia, I should be able to kill. Crossbows are in. We have lost most of my cavalry, though. But a kill on Valkia would be huge for me. Absolutely massive. Gets a unit of Minotaurs in. But if I can just start securing these points, we are sitting way more comfortable than before. There you go. Minotaurs are not cooking up very hard. They are actually having a pretty hard time. Come on, Valkia, just die. Oh, Jesus. Minotaurs hurt, though. Minotaurs kind of hurting a lot. Do I have a Khorne summon? I do, thankfully. Okay. Oh, he's stalling though. He's stalling the point. Oh, dang. Yo, my opponent's playing this very well, actually. And Valkia lives. Oh, she lives. I should have captured this far point way sooner. I goofed it. I goofed it. I took a lot of really bad fights. Run, little lord, run. Ah, crap. Yo, I think he's going to win this. I think he wins this. Dang. Oh, yo, I took some bad fights early on. That was entirely on me. Well played. How your multiplayer match is going this week? Very well, very well. I'm having a good time, although I think we won't be able to make it to semifinals. Dang. Yeah, I really needed to pick smarter fights against his infantry, and I didn't have anything to deal with the Minotaurs. Too much armor for my Plague of Rusts. Yeah, those guys are just dead. Brutality. Let's go over here. Let's get myself some armor, mayhaps. Do I have anything to summon? Dang, dude, those Furies are so brutal. All right, a little bit of a bomb drop. So he has a ton of point stalling. I'm pretty sure it's impossible to win now. Some slightly bad engagements. The magic was okay. The magic was okay. The bet attack spam was fine. But yeah, I just got caught a few too many times. I think it is winnable. But probably more crane gunners instead of celestials. GG, well played. Dang, look at him go. Congratulations to my opponent. I think we definitely got to get the crane gunners cooking harder. The celestial dragon guard did not really do well. If you take a look at the value, 600. The crane gunners also didn't do really well either. But yeah, I needed him to like march forwards, and while marching forwards, I get a lot of what's it? While he's marching forwards, that's where I get most of my value. I think Khorne bombs is what I needed to do. Minotaurs, yeah, you can't have the Minotaurs get that much value. Like, it would have needed to be like a cannon or something. Brutal, brutal. I need like a specific anti-Khorne build, but he takes the win. I would need a bloody miracle to make it to semifinals. But there's always tomorrow. Terracotta Sentinel, yeah, versus the anti-large Minotaurs. I know you're memeing though. Let's see here. What do we need to change out? I think Righteous Lances are eh. I think the magic was, yeah, Jade Shield Dragon's Breath just doesn't really cook right. I think you do really want the Plague of Ruster. You know, honestly, okay, you know what? I think Astromancer's really cool. He's really cool, but legit, I think you actually need more uptime on Plague of Rust. So if you could double Alchemist with Plague of Rust, Storm of Shadows to slow down his boys, and then you go for like, yeah, you go Storm of Shadows to slow down any counter charges that go on. You skip out on the Jade Amulet because it's not really needed. And then you go for like, just like some fat early engages. Because you can kill 2 Chaos Warriors. They basically become Marauders with the Plague of Rust. You're probably good. Now, I will be casting the semis and the finals, by the way, so keep an eye out for that. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm thinking like, you do need some sort of single entity fighty power, because this is not really the strongest fighting force. Oh, you max out on the single entities though. Isn't it a waste to have 3 casters? It is a little bit of a waste, but I think you kind of need it. Moonbirds, a little bit of Moonbird action. Could go for Long Riders. Glittering Scales doesn't do anything. Khorne has enough armor piercing where it doesn't really make the biggest impact. What is it like waking up and deciding I will define a new faction meta today? Not great. We didn't quite get there. Tomorrow for sure, though. Tomorrow for sure. Let's see. Against Khorne. So I need something that can shoot him and get a little bit of value at the start. I think Crane Gunners is enough to put on some early pressure. And I should have enough here to stop, like, just a fat early rush. There's no way we can magic down his front line. Though, actually... What if you do just go a normal man-tide against Khorne? And you don't put them on horses. And you literally just have 2 Plague of Rusters. Because if armor is the issue, you can probably just get some fat rear charges, right? How much infantry can I take with double Jade Lion? Yeah, 2 and 2. Technically increases the Cathay win rate. Let's see here. How much ranged firepower can we take along with the front line? Because I'm thinking, if Khorne decides to rush you and you play defensively, with double Plague of Rust, you could probably get a lot of killing done early on, right? So what, you have Storm Shadows. So none of these will be affected by Khorne's general resistances. Khorne's magic resist. You have... Okay, I think you probably don't go for the Peasant Archers. I think that's not the smartest play. But Celestial Dragon Crossbows... Can you defend one Celestial Dragon Crossbow? Or do you just go for normal crossbows? I honestly feel like normal crossbows just to deal with the Furies is better. So you go like 2 normal crossbows. You have a chunk of front line. Do I risk 3? I think 3 is fine. Get a Celestial Dragon Guard to really hold the middle. The ROR crossbow. Mark of Yin, missile resist and missile block chance resist. Oh, that's actually really good. Okay, I like that. So you go for the ROR, you get the Celestial Dragon Guard. You go for double armor debuffer with the slow. So this way you still have full spell amp. And then you use cavalry summons to just break their backfield. Because it's not too hard to win the mobility advantage against Khorne. And they get some rear charges. Might of Heaven and Earth. Might of Heaven and Earth is... let's see here. Flaming attacks, melee attack. It just doesn't last really long. It's also very expensive. Usually most of your damage is coming from charging, not the melee grind. I think if Cathay had really strong melee DPS infantry, I would try it. But let's see here. Let's try like something like this. And then you could go for the Long Marauders. They technically don't need armor piercing. But the thing is, you really need that Plague of Rust uptime, which is worrying me the most. I like this lineup. I think I just need like a little bit more. Do I want Peasant Horsemen? I need something that can really kill the Minotaurs. I think you do just go for these guys, because eventually you will run out of Plague of Rust. And that way you Plague of Rust for your cavalry to win, and then you have a pretty chunky front line. Grand Cathay versus Khorne. I'm going to try this out. Fingers crossed it goes well. Dang. Okay, tomorrow is the day though. Tomorrow we 100% get it. Peasant Horsemen for capture weight are really important. Can I fit Peasant Horsemen into this build? Let's take a look-see. I'd have to cut the cannon. You might be able to make do without the cannon. Depends on if they go for like a held cannon type thing. If you're spamming Plague of Rust for your main spell, you don't really need the Yang caster. I could replace a caster, but I really want the spell amp to really wreck their armor. So we just have one on the super cheap. At this rate, it's... Actually, I don't really need peasant horsemen for capture weight. These ladies are... Oh, they're on foot. Crap. She's on horse. Can I do even more savings by taking her on foot too? Just take them all on foot. You don't really need the longmas with this much Plague of Rust. So you're thinking like I just straight up go for like 1,000,000 horsemen for capture? Honestly, I was running out of capture weight that game. This doesn't seem that bad. I do like trying to go for like a normal infantry corps, but you have a lot of tools to really punish cavalry fights in the backfield. What we're doing, we're theory crafting the Cathay. We're not making it to semifinals with the 2-2. But I feel like it's on the cusp. It's on the cusp. So not Plague of Rust and Magic, but we'll get there. Bet on the Sentinels, bro. Trust me, no copium. Sentinels would reduce the amount of spell amp, so it would significantly hinder the Plague of Rust. In a different Cathay build, I would give it a hard maybe. Why not Celestial General Lord? He has the spin to win and armor piercing. It's mostly for the memes, I'm not gonna lie. But Storm of Shadows is not the worst. The big thing is Valkia is kind of annoying. Her Spear of Slopnir will do a lot to my Celestial Dragon Guard. I could go for the Yang and Jade Shield combo. As a tech piece. I think there's a few ways you can go about it. So you can go with Jade Shield, skip the Dragon's Breath. And then you have something. You can spam it with Jade Amulet. So then it's basically free. And then if a Fury dives in on your range units, like any backline play should just die. Or you buff up your cavalry to do like a big charge against Minotaurs after you Plague of Rust them. But I don't think you spend your magic on Dragon's Breath. Scales of Celestial Court doesn't really help. Khorne has a lot of magic damage. We're waiting on a couple more matches to finish. How are you going to cast Plague of Rust on fast units when they don't got horses? Wait, what do you mean? Like Plague of Rust on like flesh hounds? I don't know how rusting flesh hounds works, but such is life. Surely with the way armor scales, the extra armor reduction you get from one of those single entities doesn't make much of an impact. I guess probably not. Okay, wait, let's take a look. So let's see. If I go land battle and we go to Troll Country, my favorite Tusk map, and we load up the Grand Cathay vs Khorne build. Let's see how a Plague of Rust does versus a Chaos Warrior. And I have a Jade Lancer. So this is fully amped Plague of Rust, and we'll compare it to not fully amped. Does negative armor really play into the damage? Yeah. I think the biggest issue would be Valkia, but double Jade Lion's not the worst. So, if you take a look at a normal cav charge with no Plague of Rust, Jade Lancers have a very wet noodle charge against Chaos Warriors. As you can see there, quarter HP damage on the charge. You overcast Plague of Rust. Dang, that was pretty lackluster too. Yo, these guys are supposed to have no armor. 14 armor. Yo, what was that? Okay, all right, give me a hot second. So you have to flank them then. You have to flank them. So we'll see the difference between Jade Lancer bracing. Maybe that's where it's at. Oh man, this is build all the way dead in the water. Let's give it a check. So let's get the Jade Lancers. We'll park them over here. We'll do some of this. Get over there. Harmony again. Harmony doesn't really affect charge bonus. Okay, so let's see a rear charge with the Cav Core. So they're in combat, you rear charge with the Cav Core. It's pretty good damage, right? They go down to like a quarter HP. But, you know, it would take a little while for your cavalry to really get them killed. So like this is the usual suffering, right? This is usually why Chaos Warriors of Khorne are so painful. But we'll try with Plague of Rust, and then we'll try with slightly less amped Plague of Rust. Still sticking with the lines and not the war drum. Oh yeah, I should replace one line with the war drum. Yes, because the Regiment of Renown war drum does give you the buff. True, if we're going for an infantry build, I think that would actually be really nice. Okay. Yeah, like a Plague of Rust Cathay Main Tide, mayhaps, instead of a Cav Core. Cav Core is better versus some factions. Man Tide will be better versus others. So let's try this time around. So if we cast Plague of Rust on these guys, and then we give them the fat Cav charge. Let's see how it does this time. So pretty lackluster initial charge. The impact damage doesn't help much because their mass is just so high. But you can sit in a grind this time and just kill them, right? So by the time the Plague of Rust wears off, you kill a whole Chaos Warrior of Khorne. And with Harmony bonuses, it would be better. So the idea is each Plague of Rust just lets your cavalry do their job. But the infantry is expensive enough where it should be okay. We're waiting on one more match already. At WMW at Daceberg. Let me know when you're done! Exclamation mark. That's pretty good. That's definitely a plus. Definitely a plus. Let's put him not on his bike just so he doesn't get in the way. We will try again this time with one less Jade Lion. Because then I could just cut both Jade Lions. What if I just cut both Jade Lions, get the War Drum, get the double caster Plague of Rust, and then we're good? Because the War Drum would definitely help out a build like this with its Harmony bonuses. Okay, so if we do it this time around and take a look-see, Plague of Rust now is it's 87, so we lose out on like 10 armor. So they'll be at 25 armor. That's still a rather ludicrous debuff, right? So you can see, yeah, they're at 23 armor. If I get a full charge on them, it still does quite a bit of damage. And it doesn't really make a big difference, right? Plague of Rust lasts an eternity too. And you can still rout them off. So probably then the much better play, not the Giddies. The Giddies are actually decent fighters though. So I'm thinking then the much better versus Khorne play. Okay, I think these were fun experiments, but I think we gotta start making like a proper thingy here, right? So Grand Cathay Moby Max. Oh, GC and CA, whoopsies. Okay, I don't think the Lord Snipe cooks. Grand Cathay versus Khorne. Okay, let's actually just make like the de facto Grand Cathay. Okay, so top 4 is done. So while that gets arranged, I'll finish up this build. Unfortunately, we did not make it to semis. We needed that win, unfortunately, but such is life. We need to... No semi, no tiebreaker. So we advance to top 4. We can get the players in. And then I will finish up the build. So let's see what we got here. It is at Goblins. Thanks for playing. So as you can see here, we have VM Berserk versus at Bag. Oz, the person that beat us. At Hillidan versus at Danican. Alright. At Berserk, lobby code please for me to cast. Very nice. Semifinals today. Alright, so I think you do want the War Drum. So you cut one of them. You take the War Drum. War Drum has Mastery of the Elemental Winds. And it also has some pretty good melee attack buffs for your front line. Or you make it so that it causes fear, so that you guys don't rout. You then go over here. Do I want the slow? Storm of Shadow slow is so good. I really want to keep something close to this. Do I replace a crossbow with an archer? I really run out of good units. I like this Dragon Guard because it's also an armor debuff. Wait a second. You can also debuff armor with these guys. Okay. So you could go for like you could go for the archer instead to upgrade a line into a war drum. The bigger problem here is that you start really running out of ways to deal with single entities. But maybe Storm of Shadows focus fire with your range is good enough. One sentinel? You have to tell me what to cut. I'm not gonna cut a whole Celestial Dragon Guard and Jade Warrior for a sentinel. Also, I'd have to cut a single entity actually, so I'd have to get rid of a Jade line. Yeah, you can minus 96 armor here. Then you normal cast Plague of Rust for another minus 50 armor. Then you use the Celestial Dragon Guard to get another minus 30 armor. Full on armor debuff stacking. They demolish single entities. Okay, so I just gotta keep them alive, right? So you either take the slow or you take Jade Shield. Depending on the situation. Take a Lord on a horse. Her stats are actually decent. Her HP is what holds her back. But yeah, you could take Jade Shield. Or take Jade Amulet and spam Jade Shield. I'll have to consider this. I will have to consider this. There's a chance that you're able to just win the frontline fight so hard with this build. You know what? Let's take a look-see. Let's take a look-see at these more infantry-centric Cathay builds with a lot of mobility in reserve. Cut the other lion? No, not the lion, man. What would I replace it with? Man, but the spell amp is so cool. Lobby code, please. I need thingamajig. We gotta cast these games. We got some games cast. Yeah, when I finally win with Grand Cathay though. Oh my gosh. Oh, whoops. This is like the Bretonia challenge all over again. Gotta win with the lowest win rate faction. Yeah, the Dragon Blooded is a decent fighter. The lacking AP is what holds her back. Oh, is Berserk playing Wood Elves? That would be crazy. War Compass? War Compass, definitely not. You need the Jade line for terror in this build. Otherwise, you don't have any form of terror out shenanigans. I took the drum though. I took the drum. Cut line for Iron Hails. Okay, now you would need terror. I would rather cut the line and get a Moonbird. And then you just use the armor debuff for like super crazy alpha strikes. I like that idea. I like the alpha strike terror route. The thing is, you need to force them to go into you. But against a lot of these melee rushes that we've been seeing today, like I think the Dark Elf rush, If I can force the cavalry to have to go into my backfield, we're good. The lions don't have terror? What do you mean the lions don't have terror? Hold up, wait 1 second. Wait just a darn second. The lions don't have terror? Are you kidding me? Not like this. Not like this. Okay, so that means I have to take a... Alright, you know what? We'll replace it with a celestial lion. No, it doesn't have terror. What? Fine. The flying lions remove terror. No, they have a leadership debuff too, right? They have a roar or something. Okay, so maybe I do go for the general then. Dang it. No, what? How do they not have terror, man? Oh my gosh. Sentinel has terror. Alright, we'll figure it out. I think Spellline Plague of Rust is the way to go though. You know, I'll play slightly suboptimally. I gotta make this 60% Spellline work. It's kind of important for the thumbnail, guys. You know what? My true colors are revealed, alright? This is why. This is why I'm not giving it up. I can't do a video without saying I took the maximum amount of spell amplification. I will make it work. All right, even if it costs me a whole week's worth of tournaments. We gotta do it. Go Zhao for the terror. Zhao has a Plague of Rust and the flaming attack wombo combo. It's true. I think a normal infantry build has to be good though for Cathay, right? Just scoring normal infantry. Force them to try and dive your backfield. Man, now I really want to play another tournament. I really... So sad Anticity died trying. We're not dead yet. I'm not dead. Yo, okay, I want to play another tournament so bad. But I am morally obligated because I made some promises to not do another tournament. Tomorrow is the day though, okay? Tomorrow, get that win-loss out of my face. Tomorrow, okay? No memes, try hard city. 6-0. I hope you guys are ready, okay? I'll make that sacrifice. Will you ever try a Terror Bomb build? Maybe with the Miao Yin Construct? Just host one after this? I would, but... I really got some obligations. I gotta get to. It's fine. There's always tomorrow. It feels like it's so close to being there every time. Let's see. The biggest problem is like, what if they go for like that salamander build that Charix went for and they just kite you? But in theory, okay, what if you just play it like Skaven? Amazing, you know, infantry ranged and frontline support power. You have your Giselles to stop kiting from being an issue. You have your artillery pieces. It has to work. It's gotta work. Which Cathayan dragon is best fighter in dragon form? Zhao, because he has a heal. And then I think the Executioner is better than Miao Ying's heals because she has to transform for it. You're hopeless. I will get Cathay a tournament win. Absolutely. We gotta do it before Charix gets it. Anyways, we just finished grand finals recently, right? I can afford a little bit of losing for a bit. I'm sure it'll make me a better player, you know, playing Cathay. Hey, look at that Doombolt. Let's go. Doombolt, Blade Wind. Oh my gosh, he's playing with our hearts. Berserk using all the buffed abilities for the Wood Elves. Oh, that reminds me. I actually have to take my meds. Thank you for saying drugs be wilding. Don't mind me. It's medicated. It's not actually just... I'm not just doing hard drugs on stream. I actually need these meds. Spilled a bunch of water. Whoopsie daisies. Yo, I'm going crazy. This stream's going wild. All right. Anyways. Yo, is he spamming Shield of Thorns too? That also got buffed. Damage reflect 20. Hell yeah. Yo, the spill. Oh god. I do not look stable right now. I can't handle these losses, man. Losing puts me in a bad mental state. All right, what we got? Chaos Warhounds, Karnak. Hell yeah, love me some Karnak action. His net's really hype for that Lord Snipe. Yo, Firebark Elders, dude, Berserk's going ham. Yeah, they have the Wildfire Aura, gives them good anti-skirmish because the Khorne dudes have fire damage. It's a 100% Warp Stone. 100% Warp Stone. Now, Glade Riders dive on into the deaths, but he uses the melee damage reflect. Little known fact though, spell resist actually does work against damage reflect. It's a really weird thing, but because of that, this damage reflect does 30% less damage, and the Warhounds actually don't take that much deeps, though they do still get routed by a swift Sisters of Thorn charge. Big ol' Valkyria Spear though gets a lot of deeps in. Valkyria comes on in with the steel chair, but she gets kited away from. But overall, I'd say Khorne is doing fairly fine. Knight Lances, the buff Knight Lances, they got 100 gold cheaper. They do not do very well versus Firebark though, so they are disengaging. And a pretty big massacre of the Wood Elf forces. Glade Guard are dead, Glade Riders are dead, Sisters of Thorn at half HP. This is a really bad start for the Wood Elves. You know, I feel a little bit less bad about losing to Bagos. He's actually kind of crushing it. Yo, he's stream sponsored by Zhao. Holy crap, you guys are amazing. But yeah, no, this is actually a terrible position for Wood Elves. They just lost. He banked, he put all in on the newly buffed Shield of Thorns, and he lost, man. Shield of Thorns absolutely did not cook there. I think the Warhounds routed and they came back at half HP. That's, he killed 1 unit's worth of Warhounds and 3/4 of a Fleshhound unit, but he used a spell and lost just as much gold. That's terrible. Valkyria is having the time of her life too. And the Warriors are holding on to the points like no one's business. These guys are great. Oh no, they're just Marauders, okay. So they will die to Wild Riders. Furies are really good versus Skirmishers, by the way. And no magic damage means that they will be able to bully them. Pulls away. Good play from Bagos to make sure they don't overcommit and die to some Dryads. But what he really needs is the 3rd capture point. And Firebark Elders, surprisingly enough, are getting some work done here. I don't think there's anything that can take this point unless he starts spamming infantry, which he does. But Dryads over here are going to be a big issue against them. 1 Wild Rider charge in the rear could really crush the Khorne Gores too. So I don't fancy them too much. Yo, it's just music, battle music, like really loud. Yeah, why is my battle music reset to like 1,000,000%? Okay, battle music's hype, but like not 100% hype. All right, so actually that's a little too quiet now. Is that better? Ah, hell yeah, there we go. Another Valkyria Spear drops. This one was more of a miss. Yeah, Treekin for babysitting points actually really high. I wonder how they'll do versus the Khorne Gores. They don't have fire damage. Anti-large armor piercing's great, but Dryads probably cook them right. We'll see. Yo, magic damage against Furies is pretty cool too. Valley trading is starting to slowly fall away for Khorne also, by the way, and them not being able to secure the point means that this might just become a trading game. Dryads are in. Fury's looking for a good target. And wow, those knights took a lot of damage. I really wonder what he's going to do with his lord too. So she's just sitting in the trees to farm power recharge. Pretty hilarious. And she'll be in the battle later on to spam 1,000,000 spells, I'm sure of it. You can see those poor Furies getting annihilated by the Firebark Elders. Furies are gonzo. Disintegrated almost immediately. And never mind, Firebarks are just charging the Chaos Knights. They will kill off the Dryads though, so Khorne Gores will have a good time. I think the Khorne Gores might be able to hard carry, but it's a little bit of a toss-up, especially with Blade Singers on the field. Khorne does have a pretty solid hold on the double point though. Still, only a very mild lead on tickets. I would not be too confident as the Coronate player. A little bit of poke damage too. But Khorne has a lot of armor. These guys are not armor piercing. They do about as much as like crossbows though, so they're not like basic archers, but it's still gonna take a while to chip away. And ooh, look at that, pretty nice chariot micro. Khorne Gores are on the Firebark Elders. Although, did they miss target? Oh, I think some of them mistargeted. He right-clicked the cavalry and now they're chasing instead of fighting the elders. Mini misplay over there, but I like the Khorne play. Some really good Khorne play using doggos to stop those skirmishers from causing too many issues. Valkia's having a great time dying to Blade Singers, as is her trailer. But there we go. I think Khorne Gores are finally on the Firebark Elders, and now they're getting a lot of work done. Unfortunately, the Chaos Chariots got a little bit stuck in though, so they will be dying. But over here we are seeing oh my gosh, massive Wild Hunter of Kurno's kill. He does throw down the Shield of Thorns, but as usual, 35 or even 50% when it comes to the Flesh Hounds of that damage will be negated. So kind of rough, and they get routed off. Man, he wishes he had another Spear of Slopnir here. Unfortunately not, but it looks like it's just kind of a fat trade. The fact that he still has Marauders here means that he's probably not losing the point anytime soon. But new capture weight Blade Singers on the point. They will steal this very quickly if he's not careful. They are in the water though, so they do get a pretty big debuff to their stats. Does that not count as water? Alright, well, I guess they're not getting stat debuffed. Regardless though, chariots are incoming. But will they be able to capture the point? Against a unit of chariots and doggos, it's going to be very slow. Knights are trying to get on in. And dang, they flee the point. However, chariots will die to those wild riders over there. Big charge on them will get them killed. And Khorne is starting to run out of units at this point. Firebark Elders have done a great amount of work for stalling. If you just transfer all of these tickets to the Khornate side, they would almost win at this point had they had a triple cap. But in this case, absolutely not working out too well. So it looks like Bag Oz going for the Hail Mary play, diving straight onto the backfield to try and defeat the Spell Weaver. Now she's got some good forest weaving. She's not slowed down like Khorne, but the net will solve that issue. Gets a pretty massive attack on her. And second attack, will it hit? It does. Doing a little bit of damage. One more and she might rout off the battlefield. Net does wear off, but he really just needs one more attack. Oh my gosh, gets the last attack in. Huge play from Bag Oz, pulling it back on the value train, even capturing the point over there. And oh my goodness, what a huge play! Bag Oz with the Khorne plays. Jeez Louise, Khorne put some work in. Now he is surrounded, but in his death throes, he will keep these Wild Riders occupied for the next few minutes. And that's going to be pretty good. However, Wood Elves have captured the middle line, and they do have a lot of Blade Singers and Wild Riders. So even though that was a pretty good play, I still worry a little bit. Chosen of Khorne, though, get brought onto the battlefield. One of the most elite Khornate infantry units are here. Lots of shields, and now it's 7 capture weight. It's going to be rather impactful. Using the cavalry to hold here, it looks like Bag Oz wants to go for that sick double cap victory. One problem though, that caster's probably going to get resummoned. However, opting for a War Dancer summon instead, because he's still waiting on cooldowns. Khorne does deal with the Sisters of Thorn, and is now trying to kill off the Wild Riders to the best of his ability. And it looks like a second point might fall for Khorne. Over here are these Dryads of Blade Singers. Blade Singers! Chosen won't be able to capture. And it seems like even with the big play, the Wood Elves have won enough on the general battlefield to still come out on top. Chaos Knights, I don't think they got a lot of value done, unfortunately. And yeah, this is looking pretty rough. Now it's looking pretty rough for Khorne, right? I think he needed that Lord Snipe way earlier. The early game went really well, but the late game was a little sus. Lost a lot of infantry over here. Lost his chariots, lost his cavalry. Because of the Firebark Elders, actually. You know, like legit, I think the Firebark Elders actually just won this game. If it wasn't for them, Khorne would have had a much easier time. And there goes Khorne dying. And the Spellweaver's back with the power of darkness, ready to go onto the battlefield to start causing Khorne many issues. I expect a Doom Bolt to drop on Valkyria's face. There it is. And let's see how much damage it does. It did get buffed recently. So there goes a dropping. And Valkyria takes a decent amount of damage. A couple more of those and she will go down. And boy, can you bet this lady has a lot of winds of magic left. Chaos Knight Charge gonna be doing their best. I'm a little doubtful that they can kill everything here. Looks like they're a bit doubtful too. Lose one entity to 2 Dryads. And then they pull back. Yeah, Chaos Knights, oh god, it's not a lot of value. How about these ones? Ooh. Yeah, I think it was the Chaos Knights that failed Khorne this battle. Summoning in 2 Chaos Knights and they got 600 gold a pop. Then a 3rd Chaos Knight is not the best. Blade Storm drops too. Looks like they are fairly resistant to the damage. Might have actually helped them more than it did damage, as it finishes off the fight fairly quickly. Now they are getting a little bit more value. So, you know, maybe sick Chaos Knight comeback. It's pronounced Bagosh. Oh, okay. Sure, I'll say Bagosh. Oh, Valkyria dodging the Doom Bolt with her attack animation. Huge. That will keep her alive. And there are 2 Marauders back. So, potential comeback plays for Khorne, right? What he needs to do is he needs to recapture a point very quickly. And then he needs to start up trading fairly dramatically. Another Blade Storm drops. If he's lucky, it heads in this direction and kills all the Wood Elf units. Unfortunately not. Dang, Khorne is so magic resistant though. Kind of walks into the Blade Storm, but does not care one bit. Unfortunately though, they still haven't really paid for themselves. Turns out, CA, they might have buffed the Chaos Knight Lances, but it was not enough. Valkyria has her charge speed going on right now, so she can probably dodge this. Holy crap, that's the fastest I've ever seen Valkyria. Oh, she doesn't dodge it though. From downtown, what a curve. Oh my gosh. The Doom Bolt homing, working out pretty well. And Valkyria is on the last grasp of breath. Last little itty bit amount of HP. Uses the Demon Shield a little late. Doom Bolt already dropped, lady. And Khorne does get a capture point. Now, if they do get a second capture point, they still don't win. They actually need a triple cap now to win. So it's really gonna be close. Now they will have time. Khorne Gore unit is in. He's in the puddle. Doggo is on the battlefield. But they will be stalled by the Glade Rider. Time is of the essence. He absolutely has to capture this point. And while these guys are doing well, they're kind of slow and Valkyria's probably about to get annihilated. From the top ropes. And it looks like it was an overcast. And Valkyria is no more. Falls to the ground, limp as a biscuit. Her shield screams its last scream. And that's going to be pretty bad for Khorne. Thankfully, the leadership is still quite good. He does look like he will capture this point. Bagosh. Although, second cavalry coming in. Berserk knows the name of the game. He knows he just has to hold out for a little while longer. Has his lord here. Charges into the Chaos Warhounds. These are just doggos, not flesh hounds, so they die almost immediately. And that flips the capture weight. Very brutal loss from Bagosh. And a pretty close one too, though. I haven't seen them much in the multiplayer scene, but it seems like they're coming on in pretty strong with the Coronate plays. They've been doing rather well for themselves. I would not be surprised if we see another Khorne main in the meta, causing fear to everybody. Very excited to see where they go. Valkyria losing since when? Although she did beat Cathay. Let's see here. Khorne Gores. Yeah, he's not capturing this point. This one is very well hunkered down too. A couple Blade Singers too. And Khorne is essentially army wiped now. Are we going to see any more Blade Storms? Love to see like a Blade Storm on infantry, but nope. Battle ends! And Berserk will be heading on to the semifinals. I mean the grand finals. Them grand finals. Let's take a look. $900 gold for Valkia, 1,100 gold for this knight unit, 846 gold over there, and 871. The Chaos Knights did not get half of their value. Technically, in this battle specifically, if the Chaos Knights cost half of their gold, they would be good. They would only be good if they cost like 40% gold off. Otherwise, yeah, they really did not do too well. The Fury play was nice. They did a lot of distractioning. This Fury got quite a bit of value. And the Flesh Hounds were amazing. Flesh Hounds did great. They paid for themselves. Chosen, however, only one of them did well. I think some things in the build could be adjusted. I really like the Karnak play, though. Love to see some good Karnak micro. Praise the Sisters of Khorne. Yeah, 2,600 value. My goodness. My goodness, that's a lot of value. 1,300 gold on a caster is decent. The Blade Singer's cooked too, man. Dude, Khorne got annihilated. Poor Khorne, man. Poor Khorne. That means we are now moving on to Grand Finals. Who will be making it today? It appears Danican has won. Hell yeah. Let's invite Danican. It's gonna be Danican versus Berserk. Very fun indeed. Yeah, Karnak's pretty good. Karnak's a sleeper unit that probably needs to be toned down, but won't because Khorne is mid. I think that's, yeah, it's fairly in line with how things are. Most rosters have units that overperform that could be toned down, but to tone them down would weaken the roster too much. Such is life. Such is the way of balance. Man, I was really hoping those knights would do well too. Oh man, Chaos Knights really need a bit of a buff. I feel like they're a solid 1,200 gold cavalry. I think they would do like very nice at the 1,200 gold tier. Because like that's where Knights of the Blazing Sun are. And the cavalry is like slightly better than Knights of the Blazing Sun. Knights of the Blazing Sun aren't super meta. So I think 1,200 gold is about where I want to see him. You just hate how he removes the ability to breath attack. Silence should only affect spells, not abilities. Yeah, the way CA programmed it, I think all abilities are effectively spells. Although, wait, no, it isn't. Because some abilities get spell amplification. So I guess not. Yeah, okay, yeah. So they should make more exceptions for Karnak's aura. Because, yeah, the whole breath attack thing's kind of weird. Kind of weird, but I don't know. Well, it is a silence. Karnak closing up the throat, right? So if you think about it, if you can't speak, how can you breath attack? If anything, it makes the most sense for breath attacks out of everything. You know what? Keep it for breath attacks, stop it for some other abilities. I think that's like Foe Seeker should not be silenced. Breath attack, keep it. For the memes, come on. Come on. Yeah, okay, here's the thing. The programming that CA did is not a bunch of monkeys hammering nails. It's like them finding an artifact and trying to figure out how to make it work, right? The programmers that did the programming for this, right? They could have retired 10 years ago, okay? This is legacy code we're talking about, which is big butts. It's the worst. So, yeah, and then like, it's more like you're hammering on the foundations of ruins. It's like Rome, right? You just keep building on top, and eventually it all falls apart. Dark Elves versus Wood Elves. Ah, hell yeah. Yo, I can't wait. So, it looks like they're playing on Blazing Ramparts. Dark Elves versus Wood Elves. Berserk's a Khorne player. If he played Khorne here, he would have gotten kited to death. I suspect Danican's gonna just wreck a Reno here. Wait, no, Wood Elves is a terrible match for Dark Elves. My bad. Other way around. I keep thinking Berserk's Khorne. I suspect Danican is gonna get shot to pieces because the problem with Dark Elves is that they have very low HP pools. Very low HP. So all kite damage, all range damage is going to do like 15% more damage than you're used to here. Their cavalry is fairly slow. They will have a tendency to get outmaneuvered by the Wood Elves. And of course, Wood Elves don't have a lot of armor, so most of the usual cavalry is wasted. However, Doom Bolters, also known as Doomfire Warlocks, they did get buffed. And Doomfire Warlocks are rocking the magic damage, the generally high normal damage, the basically kitted out to kill Wood Elves. Lots of speed to outmaneuver, and relatively cheap in the same price range as Wild Riders. It might come down to a micro fest if he decides to go for that. Alternatively, Wood Elves can go for Swift Shiver Shards, magic damage, shotgun bow infantry to kill off the Doomfire Warlocks. He could go Man-Tide. But if he goes Man-Tide and Dark Elves go for Man-Tide, wait for 5 minutes and then attack to get their passive triggered, it's also a pretty rough time. So honestly, there's a lot of ways this could play out. We just have to wait and see. Ooh, yeah, it could be a Doombolt match. Maybe they both go for caster lords on horses and they just Doombolt each other. That would be fun. I would love that. I wonder if Doombolt is actually OP. My hunch is telling me it's probably not that OP. I would actually rank it the same tier as like Melkoth, though, in that it does its job well, but it's not significantly better than the best spells in the game. It's also slightly inconsistent, which is a little rough, but it's not as inconsistent as like Shems, let's say. Yeah, is there a way you can consistently dodge Doombolt? What if you're like running down a hill and you get charge bonus? Valkyr was moving at like at least 100 speed there, chasing those Wild Riders, and the Doombolt managed to hit her. So you might just have to rely on attack animations for it. You can withhold your attack and then give an attack order to get that sick animation. Will the battle start soon? Absolutely. They've been army building for a bit, so we should be seeing the grand finals play out in a second. FFA after this or no balls? FFA? Honestly, I'm kind of hungry. I might just get some food. I might get some real food. All I had was cereal, and that's not the most filling. Danican's gonna need 3 to 4 minutes. All right, give it a hot second. Give it a hot second. We wait. Big chariots have a chance to just bug out Doombolt. Really? I thought chariots would be the easiest target for Doombolt. Human Boar, yes, tested it, and it was around a 1/3 chance of doing nothing for no explainable reason. Otherwise, around 1600 damage. Wait, you mean if you just stand around and do nothing, will Doombolt miss? If it's consistently 1/3, I'll take it. The question is, at that rate, are you really out DPSing something like Spirit Leech? Because Spirit Leech is a classic, man. Spirit Leech is 700 damage for 9 winds of magic at 100 range. You know, it does what it says on the tin. Just don't read the tooltip. But Spirit Leech is the most consistent Lord Sniper. When attacking a Doom Wheel. Oh, okay, this is a chariot business then. It was not an animation cancel. It happened with Valkyria. So it just has a chance of missing. All right, well, you know, like many things in the game, inconsistency. It missed / bugged when you cast it. Huh. Okay. Also, it doesn't hit knockdown. I've seen it hit knockdown sometimes, though. It's weird. Hey, consistently inconsistent, we can manage. You know, as long as the average is high enough, people will still run Doombolt over Spirit Leech. And sometimes they will get screwed over and they'll be like, well, you know, that's just Doombolt. Although sometimes you do want that consistency, right? Spirit Leech, Melkoth's, Flock of Doom. This is why people run those spells. Just the raw consistency, man. A Spellweaver with cooldown reduction item can kill a low HP Lord in less than 30 seconds. Well, that makes sense. I think a lot of people can kill low HP Lords in less than 60 seconds. It's melee. Although Spirit Leech can't kill them super fast. Doombolt has that shock value, which is really good for routing. So if you're dealing with something like a Skaven Lord, I might prefer Doombolt over Spirit Leech. Then again, Fireball is also really good versus some Skaven Lords, so I don't know. If 40k is built in this engine too, I will legitimately cry. Does CA have the money to make a whole new engine for 40k? I feel like okay, I'd be really happy to see a completely new engine for 40k, but like, man, that would be expensive. Shield of Thorns considered magic damage. Yeah, it counts as spell damage specifically. So it is resisted by spell resist. At least, yeah. If that's what you care about, if you want Shield of Thorns to do damage to coordinate units, it's not going to work out too well. It is the reason why Nurgle doesn't do that much damage with the damage reflect. And it also applies to Mortis engines. So Kugath, his Mortis engine aura, and the Mortis engine of Vampire counts is also resisted by spell resist of the dwarves and Khorne. We're manifesting it through our hopes and dreams, just like the Greenskins of 40k. Yeah, I'm real interested to see what Danican has here. So Danican has been climbing the ranks to prove himself as one of the best Dark Elf players in the scene right now. And he has been putting in work, man. Danican has been cooking. As you can see, they have pretty consistently made it to the grand finals of many tournaments. And it's gonna be real interesting, because if they figure out how to beat Wood Elves, it means that they figured out how to beat one of the hardest matchups for Dark Elves, and potentially this could propel Dark Elves into the meta once other people start adopting their playstyle. So definitely someone to keep an eye on. As you can see, he goes for a skirmish playstyle. Scourge Runners, very typical versus the Wood Elves, as they do outrange stuff like Sisters of Thorn. They can kill things like Treekin. And he goes for a Burning Head caster, but a second caster too. A Lord caster. Is this gonna be a Doom Bolter or mayhaps just a mana battery? I'm curious to see. As it appears, this Dark Sorceress does not want to get sniped. I like it. So this is specifically attack against stuff like Sisters of Avalon, or not the Sisters of Twilight. It's too many sisters in this game, where they're gonna fly around. If your caster wants to be aggressive, they're just gonna shoot them to death, and then you get the Lord Loss penalty. To counter this, you take a caster hero as your main caster, who is expendable. If she dies, who cares? And then you park this lady in the forest, just channeling the power of darkness, where she will not die. Seems like the Wood Elves have thought of the exact same thing by putting a Spellweaver of Dark in here in the forest to make sure she doesn't die to any potential Dark Elf sniping. Truly, these players are sharing the same mind. She has a whack load of spell resist on her unicorn, so she can sally out of the trees if she so wants to, and she has Doombolt spam to potentially take out maybe some chariots. Otherwise, it's a fairly normal Wood Elf army. Lots of infantry. We got some Eternal Guard, some Glade Riders. And then what do you know? The fan favorite Firebark Elders. Rocking it up with that fire resist. That's not the most important part. They are a regiment renowned, so they have full unit chevrons, which means a melee defense is through the roof. 57 melee defense. They have more melee defense than some lords in this game. Very terrifying indeed, though I do worry that they'll just get shot to death. That's a 35% resistance to missiles, no shields. They might be okay. Let us see. So, chariots already getting some working. A little bit of a volley. Okay, not a lot of armor piercing. He's dodging it, which is good. Glade Guard are pretty decent armor piercing. Not as low as vanilla archers, but not as high as crossbows. These guys have 80 armor, and they can dodge quite a bit, so they're quite comfortable. And the biggest thing here is going to be those burning heads. That's the big playmaker. If he optimizes his burning heads, kills off these range units, his front line will be way better. This is a man-tidy type of Dark Elf build too, by the way, with Reaper Bolt Throwers to force the Wood Elves up. So this is generally really good. Though the first Doom Bolt of the day comes on in. Will the Supreme Sorceress live? Or will she die? Oh, geez. Sorry for the flashbang. Whoops. Hotkeys. Yeah, that's a pretty massive Doom Bolt. Her leadership has wavered. This is why the actual leader's hiding in the forest right now. Gotta make sure you keep away from that. Overcast, I think it has 200 range. So that's pretty painful. Now, the Bolt Throwers are doing good. Elf Tide is pretty standard. They got Silver Shields, they're tanking up these shots. A little bit of a misplay, I'd say, just sitting here and tanking bullets, but these guys have ludicrous shields, so they'll mostly be fine as long as they advance soon, which they are. Bolt Thrower is really good because it knocks down a lot of entities, helps out with the with that business. Helps out because it stops him from shooting. Gets his first burning head down. Will it hit the spears? No, they pull back. Elves are very fast. Can be very hard to hit with burning head. Sees it coming miles away, so he gets a good dodge. Might even friendly fire, which would be most unfortunate. Stalls his charge. A very rough burning head indeed. But there are other win cons. The frontline fight could be good. Doomfire Warlocks are here. They could Doom Bolt the Spellweaver. Looks like a Doom Bolt is coming on in though. She's beeline into it, and she gets in range. That's the most definitely going to be an overcast. And it looks like she will be, trying to go to the trees to spell amp her Doom Bolt. Looks like, I think she barely didn't get into the trees in time. And the tree saves her. The power of the woods, truly powerful, and she does rout off the Supreme Sorceress of Fire. Now, they did cost her about 30 winds of magic, but definitely worth it because it means no more burning heads, and the Wood Elves could potentially win this frontline engagement. Doombolt instead dropping onto the Glade Guard. This is to try and take them out because the Lord is safe in the trees. Good amount of damage, kills a lot of entities, and the Doomfire Warlocks are in. But the front line's kind of sus. Dark Elves need their passive to trigger, and it's only at the halfway mark. So if they start getting their units routed off, it's gonna be painful. Soulblight's pretty cool against Firebark Elders though. Those spears will get a lot more damage in on them. But the Cavalry Corps is in for the Wood Elves, and a cavalry rush to rout off their infantry could spell doom for the Dark Elves if they rout before that passive. Because look at it, it's a perfect vigor buff and a 15 leadership increase. It will keep all the units fighting for the next forever. Good catch on the Bolt Throwers, by the way. Sorceress does rally. But it's a close one. These Bleak Swords are on the verge of routing, but there's no terror. There's no magic to reduce their leadership. These Bleak Swords too. If that passive triggers, oh my gosh, one of the Bleak Swords rout. That's huge. But the other one stays, and that is a massive buff. Take a look at these Bleak Swords. They have more melee attack than Plague Monk Censer Bearers. Not that impressive when you actually look at Plague Monk Censer Bearers, but still pretty high melee attack. 44 for the next minute and a half. One of them do get routed off though, despite the buff, but a counter charge from the Doomfire Warlocks is helping out, and the big ol' fight continues. Big cavalry route over there. And Dark Elves, you can see that swing play really coming into effect now. Value is going through the roof. Unfortunately, though, unbraced spears get charged by the Glade Riders. And they're going to be going down. These Wild Riders are just tussling versus Doomfire Warlocks. Very close fight, very similarly priced. It seems like the Dark Elves are slowly getting pushed back. The push wasn't the greatest, right? The Doomfire Warlocks are doing well. The spears are in here. But some of their lines are beginning to falter. A lot of their units of infantry are overextending. And they only have one capture point. A Dryad summon? Okay, I see what you're doing, Wood Elves. Dryad summon means, hey, I'm going to capture the points. So you better trade up in this rush or it's going to be Jover for you. Dark Elves say, yeah, I'm going to take it, man. Give it to me. Give me that trade. Gets the spears on the cavalry blob with Doomfire Warlock support and a Soul Blight. These Doomfire Warlocks are ready to tussle, man. Insane 50 melee attack. They don't need no charge bonus. 84 leadership. And the spears get in there, but they rout. What absolute cowards. That's going to be pretty bad because these Glade Guard Hagbane tips can cook now. But Doomfire Warlocks are still pretty insane. Even the Dark Riders, too, they'll be doing great. Though they don't have the buff right now. And the Chariots are still alive. He might use them for capture weight. He might use them just for cycle charging infantry or even a D-summon. We see all of those plays made by Dark Elves. It seems like the Wood Elf leadership is actually holding. And dang, look at that. Doomfire Warlocks get routed by the counter charge. Dryads manage to tear them apart. Lots of magic damage here. So their physical resist doesn't do much. Burning Head does drop. And a Dryad. Whoa, that's crazy. Reserve Dryad. I guess that's pretty good for capture weight. Still very close trading value all around. But it seems like the Wood Elves are slightly in the lead. Everyone's dead. Everyone has no HP. So these summoned units are going to have to do cleanup at this point. It's all about that cleaning up. But with no sources of terror, it's really hard to get these guys actually off the battlefield. Looks like the Doomfire Warlocks took a lot of damage from those Dryads too. And a Malkoth's drops, which is a huge swing play for the Wood Elves. And that slowdown and the poison means that they might get caught by the Glade Riders. No, the Glade Riders say, screw you, you're already dead. They just run past them like they don't care. They're running side by side. Both of them are friends. They realize they're enemies and then they decide to fight. Doomfire Warlocks get annihilated. And it seems like the Dark Elves are starting to run out of forces. Seems like their frontline push was a little too weak. And their Sorceress took a few too many Doom Bolts to the face. So she was not able to contribute much Burning Head value. And that's all they really need. One more Doom Bolt. She gets one last Burning Head. Unfortunately, only clips a Glade Guard. Very nice dodging from Berserk. And she goes down. Not many units can tank 3 Doom Bolts to the face, but apparently this horse and this naked lady can. Which means now the Dark Elves have to make a comeback play. Now, that's not impossible. Take a look. Danican has 1,000 gold in reserve. Wood Elves have a bunch of battered units that could potentially get routed off by just some basic charges. He's been farming Winds of Magic with his Lord. But if he makes this misplay, it could be bad. Wild Riders get a, oh my gosh, 450 gold value play. With a fat charge on the Dark Riders, that is huge. At a time like this, no damage back to the Wild Riders and they're completely gone. Focus too much on the cleanup crew over here, which he does get, and cleanup is good, but that was a full HP unit of cavalry. Gets in the Cold One Knights. Now, summon units for the Dark Elves do still have Murderous Prowess, which is good. But the Dark Elf magic is pretty brutal. Cold One Knights lose about a quarter of their HP from that Malkoth, and the cleanup crew do get routed off. Wood Elf leadership looking pretty high. Fat surround on the Cold One Knights. Lots of Dryads. And if they go down, that's another 1,000 gold swing. Dryads have secured this point. Triple Kappa's on the way. And it seems like, even with the very strong plays of Danican, it seems if both players are playing it out well, it seems like the Dark Elf forces just don't really cook, right? Pretty sure Dryads uptrade into most Dark Elf infantry. And pretty sure Wild Riders will uptrade into Doomfire Warlocks. Malkoth's is also brutal. Though you can run Malkoth's yourself as the Dark Elves. Opted for the Burning Head. Slightly less consistent, but he got punished for that. And I think that was it, right? I think Berserk just had slightly better magic usage. Between the Doom Bolts stopping the Burning Heads, and then the Malkoths to melt the Dryads, I guess that's it. Dang. How'd the Firebark Elders do? Yeah, I'll check the Firebark value. They did just route 47 kills. Ah, hell yeah. Wowza. Okay, not nearly as good this game. It turns out Fighting Spears was a bad time for them. Yeah, Firebark Elders did not, you know, they did hold for a long time. That's pretty hype, but maybe not against the armor-piercing non-fire damage faction. Kinda sus. Kinda sus. Anyways, Danikan's still gonna scrap it out. Feels like he still has a chance because there really aren't that many Wood Elf units left. With good enough play, he could start up trading, but it's a very uphill battle he has, right? He has to capture 2 points very quickly. Now, sending in the infantry is good, right? But these Dryads are just gonna mulch these Bleak Swords. Passive war off, right? And I believe this Dryad does have the other Trickster Shard, which is a very funny ability. Reduces all resistances by 20%. So these Bleak Swords, yeah, they don't have any resistances, but it's minus 20%. Just, you know, just to really sucker punch them. Unfortunate indeed. The Dread Spears over here are on the verge of routing because Wild Riders are insane. Good old flank and charge over there. Gets the debuff though. I don't know. Maybe if these Dread Spears really level up. Maybe if you can get a flank and charge here. Caster's back. Wants to use the rest of his magic. Good Doom Bolt. Gets the Burning Head. And man, Berserk on point with the dodges today. How much value did she get? Dude, she got as much value as the Firebark Elders. And we said they were disappointing. A caster with 300 gold value? That is insane. In terms of damage prevented by sniping this lady, it is absolutely bonkers that he was able, with the dodging, to get a Supreme Sorceress of Fire against Wood Elves to only get 318 gold value. We're talking like she should be 2,000 gold value, especially because the extra magic generation over there should have been helping her out. That's crazy, man. Well played to Berserk. Absolutely amazing dodging. And that's gonna be game. That item's OP, isn't it? Yeah, but foot branch rates are not that crazy. They're not too crazy. Yeah, between the two casters, he netted a solid 318 value. In the meantime, 1,000 gold on her for sniping the caster, and even had a bit of extra magic to get that sweet 2,000 plus value with a little bit of spell casting. She's getting fired, absolutely. Puns were amazing, chat, loved it. Bolt Thrower got 700 value. I like the Bolt Thrower plays. Losing one of them was a bit rough, but they paid for themselves. But let's take a look at the Cavalry. Yeah, not as good, right? So Doomfire Warlocks, they need the time to spam their abilities to get value, whereas Wild Riders can just YOLO in. Although they did kind of trade pretty evenly. Zote's crazy. Archers got way too much value shooting. I think the engagement got stalled a little bit, with the Burning Head kind of whiffing too. And yeah, a very close game though. I will say Danikan makes this matchup look almost even between the Dark Elves and the Wood Elves. Almost even. But I think Berserk actually just played better that game. How does Chariots do? Okay. Okay. I still think it's in favor of the Wood Elves because they have so many ways to play this, while Dark Elves are kind of locked into one playstyle. Very fun match indeed. I am starving, so I just need to get food, people. We'll give a congratulations to Berserk. Congrats at Berserk on the win! Exclamation mark. Very much so. Congratulations to Berserk. Let's finalize that tournament to give him that tournament win, which will qualify him for Turin's Grand Finals. I hope you guys had a wonderful time watching this tournament. And to all of you, I believe Turin is streaming soon. So I'll drop a link. Turin. He should be on Twitch too. Turin Twitch. So I'll just send you guys over. He's going to be streaming, I believe, a Lord of the Rings RTS. So if you're not interested in that, you don't have to check it out. And if you want Warhammer instead, I got the perfect video for you guys. Where is it at? Legend of Total War. I'm going to promote my own collab. Can I be more shallow? Probably, but look, I'm very excited, okay? I got a collab with Legend, all right? I gotta milk it for all it's worth. It's exciting too, man. It's exciting too. But yeah, anyways, I'll see you guys tomorrow. He did a Savior Disaster Battle. It was great. And we'll be here 1 p.m. EST for another Cathay attempt. Fingers crossed we get that win. I can be freed from this turmoil. Oh my goodness.